Part 169. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1682. The time is set for November 3rd, 4th and 5th Yongchengwu opera troupes Shakespeare and Tang Xianzhu will be performed at the Shanghai Grand Theatre next to Shanghai People's Square. Zhang Chen and Tan Shuhen were both worried that they would not be able to sell the tickets and no one would watch. The entire theater would be empty except for the first few rows of invited experts, scholars, and media reporters. It would be such an ugly scene. Tan Shuhen asked Lao Wan to be prepared and invite everyone in their company to go to the theater, including the construction workers. Zhang Chen and Xiaomi said that everyone in the company would be invited to go, and Xiaomi was also asked to go. I tried to find a way to mobilize some more people, and called Huihuan to ask if she could get some people from the 3 hotels. Huihuan was a little embarrassed. She said, "Brother Zhang, it was the busiest time for dinner at that time. People couldn't leave. If we wait until dinner is over, we will probably only be able to watch the second half." Zhang Chen thought it made sense and told Huihuan, forget it at your hotel." Lu Yun and Zhang Chen said that people in our company can also watch it for 3 days in a row. Xiao Fang asked them, "Brother-in-law, sister Zhen, do you still have enough people? If not, I will ask the factory I cooperate with to help and ask them to send workers there." Huo and Zhang Chen said, "Instructor, don't bother me. I'll bring 300 people there with no problem, as long as you give the order." "Where did you get so many people?" Zhang Chen asked. "Your stevedores no longer need to load and unload goods." "There is no need for stevedores. They are forced to work. I asked them to rent warehouses and send 2 people to each unit." "Isn't that enough?" Huo said. Zhang Chen and Tan Shuhen calculated that such people should be about the same, and the scene would not be too ugly. Unexpectedly, there were still 3 days before the performance. Wen Wen told Zhang Chen that all the tickets had been sold out and there was not one left. It was not enough to sell. Zhang Chen was startled and asked, "How is that possible? In Shanghai, even the Shanghai Opera is not enough to sit down now, let alone Wu Opera. How many people in Shanghai know Wu Opera? Do you think it is Zhou Libo's Shanghai-style King Cow?" Wen Wen rolled her eyes at him and said, "Boss, you are too bureaucratic and too idiomed to look down on yourself. Do you think our fans are all dummies and numbers? Let me tell you the news about the performance." As soon as it was posted online, half of the tickets were sold on the same day. "Really?" Zhang Chen asked, "Who are these people coming to see?" "There are people from all over the country. Of course, most of them are from Shanghai and nearby areas. Anyway, there are quite a few people who go to Hangzhou and Suzhou by high-speed rail," Wen Wen said. Zhang Chen still didn't believe it, so he checked the Weibo accounts of Xiongnan and Yongchengwu Troop. Sure enough, there was a lively discussion there, and many people were asking if they had tickets. Zhang Chen turned to the first Weibo post and found that Wen Wen wrote that there would only be 3 days of performances nationwide this year. If you miss it, it will be gone. No wonder fans are so enthusiastic. "How's it going, boss? Did you do a good job?" Wen Wen asked proudly. Zhang Chen said, "She is beautiful. She is indeed beautiful. By the way, where is the celebrity you invited?" Wen Wen told Zhang Chen which celebrities would come every day for 3 days. Zhang Chen was surprised again and asked, "With so many, how much appearance fee will be needed in total?" "What kind of appearance fee? Do you want them to take advantage of our Nanan's popularity? Do you want to give them face and ask for appearance fee?" I told them which media will come to report and which people will attend, and they will just do it. "Come, of course, I also threatened a few," Wen Wen said. "What did you threaten?" Zhang Chen asked. "I threatened them. If they don't give me face, I will send container trucks to block their doorsteps," Wen Wen said. "I can boss Wen now, and I can transfer a company of container trucks." Zhang Chen laughed loudly. After counting, there are really a lot of guests coming, some invited by Wen Wen and some invited by Lu Qing's help. Lu Qing and others will also come to report on the scene and conduct an exclusive interview with Zhang Chen. Xiang Nan called himself and invited Teacher Bai Xianyang, who was in Suzhou during this period. Teacher Bai Xianyang will also come on the 3rd. The media in Beijing, the South, and Shanghai, plus Su Wenhui mobilized the local media in Hangzhou, will all go to the scene to report. Although it is the Provincial Department of Culture that can ultimately decide whether Xiangnan and the others can go to Beijing, the judges and leaders are in Hangzhou, and the overwhelming reports from the local media in Hangzhou will also put pressure on them. On the day of the performance, Zhang Chen sat in the auditorium below, accompanying the experts and leaders. Zhang Chen looked at the entire theater and was secretly surprised. He found that more than 80% of the audience were young people. The experts sitting here were also puzzled. Everyone was muttering, "Why do so many young people come to watch the show?" Only Mr. Bai Xianyang, who was sitting in the front row, smiled slightly. He said that it was the same when we performed the Peony Pavilion. Someone on the side immediately took over the conversation and sighed, "It seems that the theater is not in decline, no one is watching the theater, it is because we don't have a suitable theater for them to watch." Zhang Chen sat there. Although he was very satisfied with the situation, he was still very uneasy. He knew that young people like to join in the fun and chase stars, and they are a little crazy. But young people are also the least likely to buy it. He is worried that seeing halfway through, will they stand up and leave one by one? Tan Shahen was backstage, and she also saw the following situation. She was even more nervous than when she was on stage. The actors explained the past one by one, especially Xiang Nan. She warned her again and again, and Xiang Nan smiled and said to her, "Mom, I wasn't nervous at all, but you said I was." Tan Shahen said quickly, "Okay, Mom, stop talking. Nanan, please relax a little." "I know, Mom," Xiang Nan said. Tan Shahen stopped talking to Xiang Nan and turned around to talk to Yin Tao. Yin Tao quickly said, Auntie, I know, I'm just letting myself relax." "Tan Shahen, you can go up yourself, Suji and me," I said. Tan Shahen said with a wry smile, "If I can get in, I will really do it myself." "You're worrying," Lao Tan cursed beside him. Lao Tan is actually very nervous. Today is the first time for his granddaughter to appear on such a big stage. He is even more nervous than when he was about to appear on the stage of the Great Hall of the People. At that time, he was still a child, a newborn calf. Who would he be afraid of? Unexpectedly, when Lin was old and his granddaughter was about to go on stage, he became nervous. But Lao Tan restrained his nervousness. He did not turn his nervousness into constant nagging like Tan Shahen. Instead, he leaned back on a chair and held an enamel cup in his hand just like he did when he came on stage. Closed his eyes, and took a sip from time to time. He heard Teacher Su's drums ringing and knew that the performance was about to begin. The curtain opened, and the audience below was filled with awe. The reporters all picked up their cameras and took pictures. Teacher Wu and Feng Logui looked at each other and nodded. They knew that the audience was shocked by the beauty of the stage. Lu Qing asked Zhang Chen quietly, "Brother Zhang, did you design this?" Zhang Chen smiled without making a sound. Lu Qing pursed her lips and smiled, understanding. As the performance progressed, what Zhang Chen was worried about did not happen. He looked behind him. All the audience were staring at the stage attentively, watching with relish. Zhang Chen's hanging heart slowly relaxed. This play is different from other plays, that is, there is no intermission. The director believes that intermission is the most damaging thing to the atmosphere of a play. The atmosphere that was finally created in the first half will disappear during the intermission. Now, we have to start brewing again in the second half. Zhang Chen thought it made sense and agreed to give it a try. Looking at the reaction at the scene today, it was indeed good. Young people don't come to theaters often, and they are not used to intermissions. The most important thing is that their prostates are good. 3 movies that are many hours long also have no intermissions. Why do you need to use the restroom? The 8 acts of the play were performed in one go. The audience stood up and applauded, still not satisfied. Xiang Nan and Yin Tao came out to say thank you several times. The people below kept shouting one more, and they didn't know what was coming. They couldn't put the whole thing together. Are you going to act it out again? A cappella, a cappella, a cappella. Wen, Xiang Nan, and Yin Tao said that they suddenly realized that they returned to the stage, and one of them sang a cappella, which won a round of applause. However, they did not let it go. They went on stage again and sang again, 3 times, and finally Xiang Nan bowed to the audience and left. Let me tell everyone. Brothers and sisters, it must end eventually, right? Please let me go, please let me go. The audience below laughed, applauded, and let them go. After the show was over, Sun Jin came over and said to Zhang Chen excitedly, "That's enough, old classmate. Even if you can't go to Beijing, it's still worth it? I've never seen anything like this before." The 3 consecutive days of performances were unprecedented, and the internet was very lively. Offline, there were many people waiting for refunds at the entrance of the Shanghai Grand Theater every day. When Xiang Nan and the others were about to get on the bus back to the hotel, they were also people surrounded him, holding program notes and asking for autographs. The scene was really like that of a big star. After the performance ended on the 3rd night, Zhang Chen specially asked Hui Huan to arrange overtime at Tuxianjiayuan Hotel on Huihei Middle Road. A celebration dinner was held there. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen awarded each cast member who rushed to Shanghai 2,000 yuan. A big red envelope of 800 yuan. Sun Jin and Ding Begu said that our seminars should also be more exciting. Ding Begu said, "No need to add more. The fire has already started. Now the media is reporting on this performance." Several people who were unable to come to the seminar because they had something to do with it have said that they can come. Chameleon, Sun Jin cursed. Ding Begu said, "They are afraid of offending Zhou and dare not come to carry our sedan chair." "What about now? Are you not afraid now?" Sun Jin said angrily. Ding Begu smiled and said, "Now that I know that this seminar will definitely attract the attention of the media, this is a time to make themselves proud, so what are they afraid of?" Sun Jin and Ding Begu, one representing the Yongcheng City government and the other representing the Yongcheng City Culture, Broadcasting, Tourism and Sports Bureau, toasted everyone at the table. After the toasts, they came back and sat down. Ding Begu asked Tan Shahen, "Where's Teacher Tan? Why don't you see Teacher Tan?" Tan Shahen said, "He watched it for 2 days and was probably relieved. He and Lao Yang have gone back today. Tomorrow, the entire troupe will return to Yongcheng, and Feng Logui, Xiang Nan, Yin Tao and the other main actors will stay in Hangzhou with Sun Jin, Ding Begu and others to participate in the event organized by the Yongcheng City government in Hangzhou the day after tomorrow." A seminar on Shakespeare and Tang Xianzhu was held in the city. The seminar was held in Zhang Chen's clubhouse at Genshin Power Plant. Thanks to Zenki, Quadratic VC, third from top to bottom, and 2 fish at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night for the reward. Thank you to Guandian Electrical and Mechanical, Lao Shenzi Sang, Jinwu Longji, Dong Longdong, Taizais Hung, 55 Hong, Yuingzi, Purple Ha, Zi Zhenjiao, Pai Wuzun for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1683. Lao Tan and Lao Yang returned to Hangzhou early. It was not as Tan Shahen said. After watching 2 games, they were relieved and did not want to watch it again. How could it be possible that their granddaughter's play would cost Lao Tan 10,000 yuan to watch? He couldn't get tired of watching it over and over again, let alone on such a big stage. Even Lao Tan himself has performed for a lifetime, and the number of times he has performed on such a big stage is only a handful. Lao Tan and Lao Yang are in such a hurry to return to Hangzhou because they have important matters. They all know that it is now a critical moment for Yongchengwu Opera Troupe and Zhejiangwu Opera Troupe to fight for the quota to Beijing. Although the performance of Yongchengwu Troupe in Shanghai was a great success and received rave reviews from the media, the quota for admission to Beijing is still at stake. After all, it was those people from the Provincial Department of Culture and Tourism who made the judgment, not the media. Those people are difficult to be influenced by the media. There are some, even some who are reckless. The more good you say in the media, the more critical they will be. Otherwise, how can they show their authority? Some people still like to pose like this. Lao Yang also found out a piece of news that was even more unfavorable to the Yongchengwu Opera Troupe, that is, 3 of the 8 people on the selection panel were members of the Zhejiangwu Opera Troupe's restructuring leading group. Think about it, on the cusp of the restructuring, you gave the place to Beijing to a county-level theater troupe. Can the work of these 3 people in Zhejiang and Wu continue? I don't know if the table will be overturned. At the end of the performance the next day, Lao Yang and Lao Tan said, "Teacher Tan, there is no other way. You must play at the critical moment." Lao Tan rolled his eyes at Lao Yang, knowing what he meant. Lao Yang ignored Lao Tan's eyes and continued. "Teacher Tan, just look at Xiang Nan and the others. Are they no less capable of enduring hardship than we were back then? The popularity of this show is also here. Logically speaking, the theater company's affairs have nothing to do with me now. No more, I shouldn't talk too much, but I just feel distressed when I see them, and feel that it is too unfair for such efforts to be given without reasonable rewards." Lao Tan's heart was moved. He looked not far away and had just finished the game. It was already November. He was still sweating profusely. Xiang Nan said to Lao Yang, "Okay, I'll show off my old face. Let's do it, go back tomorrow." When Lao Tan and Lao Yang left the Chengjian railway station in Hangzhou, Lao Tan made a phone call. After making the call, he led Lao Yang straight to the dormitory of the provincial government agency in Base Hezincan. For the first time in so many years, Lao Tan made up his mind to find Chang Qian, the former director of the Provincial Department of Culture. Director Qian can be said to be a legend in Zhejiang's cultural circles. He is both a famous playwright and a famous actor. Calligrapher. In 1956, when Lao Qian was still 24-year-old Xiao Qian, he completed the adaptation and rehearsal of Kun Opera 15 Strings. This was a big event for the National Theatre Circle, because Kun Opera had long been lost and was completed by Xiao Qian. As a result, the organization decided to let him lead the team to perform in Beijing. As a result, when the first show opened, there were only a handful of audiences in the entire theater. People in the capital said that Kun Opera had long since disappeared. "What kind of Kun Opera are you watching now?" Therefore, Xiao Qian and the others had no choice but to run around and find Dai Bufan, a drama critic from Zhejiang who was working at the Ministry of Culture at the time. Through them, they also visited many seniors in the theater world, visited celebrities, and mobilized them to support the show. As a result, the news spread like wildfire and even reached Luo Ruqing, who was the Minister of Public Security at the time. Luo Ruqing loved going to the theater. After watching the Kun Opera 15 Strings by the Zhejiang Kun Opera Troupe, he was very surprised that there was such a good drama, and quickly reported to the chairman. The chairman loved to watch Ping Opera when he was in Yan'an. He heard that the long-lost Kun Opera was choreographed by Zhejiang and it was a new thing, so he proposed to watch it. As a result, the crew of Zhejiang Kun Opera Troupe's 15 Guan had the opportunity to perform at Huiran Hall in Zhongnanhai. On April 17, The chairman watched the performance at Zongnanhai Huiran Hall and greatly appreciated it. The next day, he sent someone to the theater troupe to deliver 3 instructions. First, to congratulate the adaptation and performance of 15 Strings for their success. Second, to promote it, and to promote it, any suitable performance can be performed according to the characteristics of each type of play. Third, reward the troupe. On April 25, 15 Strings was performed in the auditorium of an agency directly under the State Council. The chairman went to see it again in person. The chairman watched 15 Strings twice in a row, causing a sensation in the capital. On April 19, the Prime Minister also watched the performance of 15 Guans and met with all the cast and crew. He encouraged everyone and said, "You, Zhejiang, have done a good thing." On May 17, the Ministry of Culture and the Chinese Dramatists Association jointly invited more than 200 celebrities from the capital's cultural circles to hold a symposium on Kun Opera's 15 Guan at Ziguang Pavilion in Zongnanhai. The Prime Minister attended the symposium in person and delivered a long speech of about an hour. He praised Kun Opera as an orchid in the south of the Yangtze River and praised 15 Strings as a successful example of adapting classical plays and an example of letting 100 flowers bloom and bringing forth the new. From April 10 to May 27, 15 Strings was performed in Beijing for 47 times, with an audience of more than 70,000. On May 18, People's Daily published a story written by Tianhan titled "The Editorial Starting from One Play Resurrected a Type of Opera Pushed Kun Opera and 15 Guan to the Extreme of Public Opinion." Xiao Jian returned from Beijing with a great reputation and became an important writer in Zhejiang's cultural circles. He successively wrote the Yu Opera Rouge and Lu Yuniang, the Shao Opera Yujian, the Wu Opera 11 She's Tears, the Peking Opera Nanping Evening Bell, the opera TV series MRS Day and the TV series Shaoxing Master. He not only won the first and second prizes from the Ministry of Culture, but also won the Flying Award and the Golden Eagle Award. While becoming an excellent playwright, he also took up the post of director of the Zhejiang Provincial Department of Culture. At that time, Lao Tan was in the Zhejiang Wu Opera troupe and was the first Fan Li in the Wu Opera Tears of 11 Shi written by Lao Jian. The two formed a deep friendship. Lao Jian was very happy to see Lao Tan. He said, "I know you have been in Hangzhou all the time. I was just wondering when you would think of me, old man, and come and see me." Lao Tan quickly said, "I've wanted to come for a long time, but I'm sorry. You have already made a name for yourself across the country and are in a high position. How can ordinary people like us have the nerve to disturb you?" "Are you scolding me?" Lao Jian said with a smile. "Being in a high position is just a job. Now this job is gone. After I quit, I will be at home, writing calligraphy and editing books. What's the difference between her and your Lao Tan? By the way, if it's your Lao Tan's daughter who is famous all over the country, is she now a famous female entrepreneur who doesn't even sing in dramas? It makes you laugh. Remember that she is an opera singer," Lao Tan said. "Why don't you remember? I have seen her perform several times and awarded her awards. I was deeply impressed. Hey, I know she has gone into real estate. I feel sorry for her. After a while, Wubian is already in a slump. This is one less person." A promising actress, Lao Jian said. "Why, Lao Tan, to be honest, is it because you are enjoying your time at home that you have forgotten me as an old friend?" "How dare you?" Lao Tan said quickly. Lao Yang said, "Director Jian, Teacher Tan is not idle now. He has returned to Yongcheng to lead a class of students." Lao Jian looked at Lao Tan with wide eyes. Are you going to lead a class for students? Lao Tan, do you want to use your spare energy or do you want to earn double retirement salary?" "Teacher Tan is a voluntary worker," Lao Yang said. Lao Tan smiled and said, "I have no choice but to be pulled back by my granddaughter." "Granddaughter? Tan Shahan's daughter?" Lao Jian asked. Lao Yang said yes, he was the one who came back from Beijing Film Academy. Lao Jian laughed loudly and said, I've heard that there is such a thing. Students at the Beijing Film Academy, with their bright future ahead of them, want to go back to Yongcheng to learn local opera. Haha, I just didn't expect that this turned out to be Tan Shahen's daughter, your old Tan's granddaughter. Tan Shahen gave up acting to work in real estate, but I didn't expect that her daughter gave up movies and returned to the theater troupe. Haha, Lao Tan, it seems that your family is destined to be associated with Wu opera. There is no way around it. Lao Tan also laughed and said, I didn't expect that she would have such a choice. Are you very proud, Lao Tan? Lao Tan chuckled and nodded. You should be proud, Lao Tan, it shows that you still have a successor. Lao Jian said, tell me, Lao Tan, you don't go to the Three Treasures Hall for anything, why did you come to me today? Lao Tan hesitated for a moment, then finally made up his mind and said, I'm here to ask for your help. When Lao Jian heard this, he laughed again. He said, Lao Tan, when I was in office, you never came to me for help. I didn't expect that I had been unemployed for several years after I retired. You have no power anymore, so you Lao Tan came to me for help. The Wu Opera Shakespeare and Tang Xianzu seminar was held as scheduled at Zhang Chen's club in Zhengchen Power Plant. Sun Jin, the deputy mayor of Yongcheng City, chaired the meeting. Sitting next to her was Ma from the Literature and Art Department of the Provincial Department of Culture and Tourism. Director, as well as experts and scholars from inside and outside the province who were invited to attend. Ding Begu took a look. Among the 8 people on the selection panel, the only one who did not attend, but was the most critical figure, was Deputy Director Hong of the Provincial Department of Culture and Tourism. Ding Begu felt a little regretful. Originally, Deputy Director Hong I had promised to attend today's seminar, but the interim director Thomas came with a message saying that he had urgent official business and could not come. Ding Begu knew the subtext of this urgent official business, and he had an ominous premonition. Deputy Director Hong was also the leader of the Zhejiang Wu Opera Troupe's restructuring team. At the critical moment, he could imagine where to turn his elbow. And no. Sun Jin also understood that this was not a good sign. She and Ding Begu looked at each other and both shook their heads. However, the meeting still had to continue. Sun Jin was holding back a fire in her heart. She thought that she did not get it in the end. The number of places to go to Beijing must also be good for the seminar. The success of the performance of Shakespeare and Tang Xianzu is obvious to all, and the public's eyes are sharp. At the beginning of the seminar, Sun Jin gave a welcome speech and invited Director Ma to speak. Director Ma stopped after saying a few words, stood up, and shouted at the door. Director Qian. Everyone turned around and saw Lao Qian standing at the door. Sun Jin and Ding Begu also stood up quickly, and all 3 of them came to greet him. Lao Qian said with a smile, I watched the video of Shakespeare and Tang Xianzu last night and was very moved. I heard that there is a seminar here today, so I came uninvited and came to listen. Is that okay? Director Ma and Sun Jin quickly said yes, and Sun Jin said, we can't even invite the old leader, so how can we not welcome him? In the conference room, there was no one who didn't know Lao Qian, and everyone applauded. Invite Lao Qian to sit down between Director Ma and Sun Jin. Director Ma's next words are, it's rare that Mr. Qian is here today. We invite Mr. Qian to speak for us. Everyone applauded, and Lao Qian began to speak. Lao Qian was talking about the relationship between inheritance and innovation in drama, with special emphasis on the importance of innovation. Yesterday, Lao Tan and Lao Yang told Lao Qian about the current situation of their Wu opera troupe, especially the efforts of several young people. Lao Qian was deeply moved and felt that he must stand up and support. Before Lao Qian finished speaking, Deputy Director Hong arrived. He came after receiving a text message from Director Ma. Deputy Director Hong turned out to be Lao Qian's secretary, and later became the Deputy Director and Director of the Literature and Art Department. Before Lao Qian retired, he recommended him to serve as Deputy Director. A week later, the list of people from the province who went to Beijing to participate in the Ministry of Culture's performance came out. For the first time, this province, which is a major Shaoxing opera province, actually sent 2 Wu opera troupes, Zhejiang Wu opera troupe and Yongcheng Wu opera troupe. Thank you Quadratic VC and book friend 1611250828404333 for the reward. Thank you De Daoisin, book friends 201706242337292641605292323957,000, Self, Romantic Sakura Kinkanshu, Quadratic VC, It's Not an Impossible World, and The Mosquito Who Doesn't Eat Fast. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1684. Xiaoshu and Laoju, a group of more than 10 people, went to the United States at the invitation of the New York Museum of Modern Art and the Guggenheim Museum. Xiaofang also went with them. Xiaofang went, firstly, at the invitation of Zhao Xian. As the team leader this time, Zhao Xian and Xiaofang said, "My English is terrible and I am not very familiar with them, so I still need you, a capitalist, to embolden me." Zhao Xian went to the United States, and the Museum of Modern Art in New York shipped a group of works by American painters to Hangzhou, which needed to be exhibited at the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery. According to the agreement, the biennales opened at the same time in Hangzhou and New York. Zhao Xian When Xian was away, Zhang Chen asked Tan Shahan to borrow Yao Fen and let her temporarily take charge of the work of the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery. Yao Fen was a little hesitant, but Zhang Chen asked so, and she had to come. At this time, if she didn't help, who else would help? After all, the other people were not familiar with the business of the exhibition hall. Yao Fen sat in Zhao Xian's office, looking at everything familiar around her, as if it was a lifetime ago, and she couldn't bear to look back on the days that people always deliberately avoid. After avoiding it for a long time, she forgot about it, thinking that it no longer existed. Yao Fen couldn't even believe that she had really worked in this office for so many years, and that in the end, she would do such a ridiculous thing. Thinking about it still makes Yao Fen feel ashamed. Zhang Chen seemed to know that asking Yao Fen to come back would cause a shadow in her heart. On the first day she took over, Zhang Chen went to the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery. Yao Fen looked at him with a somewhat reserved expression and some panic on her face. Zhang Chen and Yao Fen said, "The past is in the past, if you act boldly, there will be no problem." Yao Fen nodded. Zhang Chen also told Yao Fen his vault password. Zhao Xian had already told Yao Fen her password, but Zhao Xian's password was needed to open the vault. "Come here and add her password to open it, and Zhang Chen's password can directly open the door to the vault." Yao Fen knew what Zhang Chen meant by telling her his password. Yao Fen quickly said, No, boss, Zhao Xian has already given me the password. When I need it, just call Zhao Jingjing over." Zhang Chen smiled and told her, "Does his home art museum still need you to go to such trouble?" After Zhang Chen finished speaking, he walked out. Yao Fen sat there alone, tears streaming down her face. Zhang Chen's words about her home art museum really made Yao Fen feel warm in her heart. There is another important reason why Xiaofang wants to go to the United States. First, she wants to introduce her work to customers after returning to China. Second, she wants to go to Virginia to work with the world's largest pig producer and pork supplier, Smithfield Foods Company, to discuss cooperation. Americans don't like to eat pork. They like to eat beef and chicken. However, Smithfield Foods has 4 pig farms, 850,000 breeding pigs, 40 pork processing plants, and an annual output of 15.8 million pigs. It is supplied to the United States and mainly exported to China, Japan, Mexico, and other markets, with annual sales reaching $13 billion. President Wan of Shuanghui Group came to Shanghai a few days ago and found Xiaofang. After 2 days of discussions, the two parties confirmed the framework agreement for cooperation. Xiaofang and President Wan said that if they want to become a multinational enterprise, they must be the world's #1 meat supplier. Processing companies must go global and take the road of cooperation and mergers and acquisitions. The first goal is to acquire the Smithfield Food Company in the United States. Another one is to strive to acquire Spain's Campofrio, Nongfu Food Group. Nongfu Food Group is the largest meat processing company in Europe. After completing these 2 acquisitions, Shuanghui Group will firmly occupy the Americas, Europe, and the pig markets in 3 continents in Asia have established an unshakable industry position. Xiaofang analyzed to Mr. Wan that after acquiring Nongfu Food Group, Shuanghui Group can enter the high-end meat processing products, that is, the fermented meat products market. 15 brands under Nongfu Food Group are ranked in the local markets in European countries. First, it is the leading brand of pork products in Spain, Italy, Belgium, Portugal, the Netherlands, Romania, and other countries. They have strong technical advantages in world-renowned fermented hams such as Iberian ham, Serrano ham, and Parma ham. In Europe, they are a leading company in the fermented meat products industry. The advantage of Shuanghui Group is in high and low temperature meat products. Although they established Shuanghui Food Co., Limited in Jinhua, Zhejiang in 2003, they tried to enter the fermented meat products market. But after so many years, the results can be said to be lackluster. Almost no one in the market knows about the Jinhua ham of the Shuanghui, and those who know it don't buy it. They think their ham is not authentic. Isn't your Shuanghui from Henan? What Jinhua ham? Are you making Jinhua ham or is it really Jinhua ham? It can be said that in the field of fermented ham, Shuanghui not only did not bring the reputation of the brand, but became a burden. Without the name Shuanghui, their Jinhua ham would be better sold. After merging with Spain's Nongfu Food Group, they can achieve complementary advantages. In the future, Shuanghui Group can use Nongfu Food Group's technical advantages in fermented meat products, as well as their brand advantages, to gradually occupy the domestic fermented meat products market. With the improvement of domestic living standards, fermented meat, which is currently mainly sold in high-end hotels and restaurants, will inevitably enter ordinary household consumption. Another advantage is that through the merger, Shuanghui Group can control high-quality European pig varieties and resources, and obtain high-end pig varieties such as Mediterranean wild black pigs used to produce Iberian ham and Serrano ham. No need for Xiaofang to remind Mr. Wan that the wild black pig breed is as precious as wild rice. It took Yuan Longping many years to find a male sterile wild rice plant in Hainan and then breed it. 3 male sterile seeds came out, making it a breakthrough for hybrid rice. Mr. Wan laughed after listening to Xiaofang's words. He said, "The prospects you mentioned are indeed very good, but the reality is a bit cruel. If I want to acquire such 2 major enterprise groups, where can I get so much money?" Xiaofang said, "Money is not a problem. Mr. Wan, your biggest advantage is the domestic market. You also know that Americans and Europeans don't eat pork very much. They usually use it to make fermented meats, such as ham, bacon, etc., and chilled pork are rarely eaten. The largest consumer market for pork in the world is China. In China, your Shuanghui Group is a leading enterprise. This is your biggest capital and the prerequisite for others to negotiate cooperation with us. As for money, it is not a problem. We can use Wall Street and American money to acquire it. For American companies, as long as the control of the company is in our hands, We are the controlling shareholders of the company. Are you right? Mr. Wan nodded. He felt that what Xiaofang said made sense. Mr. Wan asked how it would work. Xiaofang introduced her entire plan to Mr. Wan in detail. She felt that she could not directly use Shuanghui Group in mainland China to acquire these two companies. This would encounter many policy barriers. The way to consider is to establish a company in Hong Kong. An international company, namely Shuanghui International Holdings Co., Ltd. The composition of the shareholders of this company is as follows. Domestic Shuanghui Group and affiliated companies, as well as Mr. Wan and related key employees, will use all their assets to establish a wholly owned company in the British Virgin Islands through a trust. In the name of this company, the company invested in Shuanghui International Holdings Co., Limited in Hong Kong and became the absolute majority shareholder, holding more than 30% of the shares. For other parts, we can absorb Wall Street companies, funds in my hands, and my funds are also American funds, as well as local companies in Hong Kong, Temasek in Singapore, etc., to become a truly international company, and then use Shuanghui International Holdings Co., Limited went to acquire Smithfield Foods in the United States and Farmers Food Group in Spain. Only in this way can many obstacles be bypassed. Mr. Wan agreed with Xiaofang's plan, and the two parties signed a cooperation agreement. Xiaofang thought of Mr. Chiao in Shenzhen. She felt that Mr. Chiao's trust company was, after all, a formal financial company in China. She asked Mr. Wan and others to handle the establishment of a wholly owned company in the British Virgin Islands through Mr. Chiao. Wan, they will always be reassured and a guarantee for them. Xiaofang introduced Mr. Chiao's Shenzhen Angzhen Trust Co., Limited to Mr. Wan. Sure enough, Mr. Wan heard that Mr. Chiao's company was a subsidiary of Shenzhen Development Bank and immediately agreed to Xiaofang's proposal. Xiaofang asked Zhang Chen to help, called Mr. Chiao. After receiving the call, Mr. Chiao flew to Shanghai that day and signed a cooperation agreement with Mr. Wan. Xiaofang and Mr. Wan said that including the establishment of a company in Hong Kong and subsequent listing in Hong Kong, they can entrust Mr. Chiao to it. Mr. Chiao has experience in this area. Mr. Chiao helped Splendid China go public. Mr. Wan was even more happy when he heard this. Xiaofang's trip to the United States this time was to visit the shareholders of Smithfield Food Company one by one and persuade them to agree to cooperate with Shuanghui Group and sell their shares. At the same time, she will also use the power of the Yale Skull and Bones Society to persuade the US government. Xiaofang estimates that the amount of this acquisition should be between 70 and 8 billion US. Such a large acquisition cannot go through the US fiscal system. It is impossible to obtain approval from the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Commerce. It is precisely for this reason that the domestic Shuanghui Group cannot be used to directly conduct acquisitions. As long as the hard nut of Smithfield Foods can be broken off, Shuanghui International Holdings Co., Limited will become a giant company. In comparison, it will be much easier to acquire Farmers Food Group. Xiaofang went to the United States, but Zhang Chen came to Shanghai from Hangzhou. He received a call from Xiaomi. Xiaomi said that we have a member. His husband is a good friend of the French Consul General in Shanghai, and the Consul General has a French friend. There are many paintings painted by Chinese people at home, and I asked him to look for them to see if any Chinese would be willing to buy them. What painting, Chinese painting or oil painting? Zhang Chen asked. It is said that they are all oil paintings. When? Before liberation, Xiaomi said. Zhang Chen couldn't help but laugh. Xiaomi quickly said, I don't know very well, anyway, it was from a long time ago. Zhang Chen asked, where is this person now? He seems to have a lot of paintings in Shanghai and wants to find a strong buyer to sell them all at once. Zhang Chen said okay, then I'll come over in the evening, and you can ask him to come to the company for an interview tomorrow. Xiaomi said yes. Thank you Zhengji, Quadratic VC, 2 fishes, 1 up and 1 down, for the reward at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for the monthly pass from the fish-eating brother, Piao Ling Yi Mayfly, Zhengji. Books are a packet of medicine, Taizongshang 1, Cat Restaurant 777, and Tamagotchi. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1685. Zhang Chen was driving the car, and while he was still on the road, Lu Yun called him and asked him if he had come to Shanghai. Zhang Chen said, "Yes, I am on the road now." "How did you know?" "I just met Xiaomi downstairs, she told me." Lu Yun smiled and said, "Let's have dinner together tonight." Zhang Chen said, "Yes." "Just upstairs, how about the buffet on the 88th floor?" Lu Yun asked. Zhang Chen said, "Yes." When it started to get dark outside, Zhang Chen and Lu Yun were already sitting in the cafeteria on the 88th floor of Jinmao Tower, next to the floor-to-ceiling glass countertop. They looked at the night outside, and it didn't look like they had fallen from the sky. But slowly rising from the ground, because of the light strips composed of lights and traffic, the sky became dark. The two of them looked at the slowly moving traffic below and didn't speak for a while. It seemed like they were sitting face to face for the first time in such a long time. It was the first time that two people had a meal. It turned out that both of them had xiaofang. If there were more people, it would be like that. There were Xiaomi, Laoju, and Lao Wan. Now they are all gone, only the two of them. Lu Yun looked at Zhang Chen and smiled, and Zhang Chen looked at Lu Yun and also smiled. Zhang Chen remembered that it was in this hotel that day that he saw Lu Yun. He chased her out, but Lu Yun had already entered the elevator. Zhang Chen wanted to talk to Lu Yun about this, but then he remembered that he and Lu Ligan were in the room behind him. If he said it, he didn't say it. "What do you want to say?" Lu Yun asked, seemingly guessing Zhang Chen's thoughts. "Nothing." Zhang Chen panicked and said, "1 year, I seemed to see you at Jianqiao Airport in Hangzhou. It was far away. I saw you walking towards the security check. I chased you to the door and you had already passed. We passed the security check, could that be you?" Lu Yun said without hesitation, "Yes, it's me." After Lu Yun finished speaking, she remained silent. She did not tell Zhang Chen why she was so sure that it was her that day. It was because for some reason that day, after passing the security check, she had a strong feeling that someone was looking for her outside. Lu Yun had already walked far away, then walked back. She walked to the security checkpoint and looked outside. She saw Zhang Chen's back. Lu Yun stood there in a daze until he completely disappeared. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "It looks like my eyes are pretty good." Lu Yun also smiled and said in her heart, "But can you see my heart?" Lu Yun asked Zhang Chen, "What are you going to do when you come to Shanghai this time, or make a film?" "Xiaomi didn't tell you?" "No." Lu Yun shook her head, "She accompanied the guests out and told me that you were coming today." Zhang Chen told Lu Yun the purpose of his visit, and Lu Yun said, "French people? Then be careful when discussing business with them." "Why?" Zhang Chen asked. Lu Yun smiled and said, "The French are very similar to us Chinese. They like to bluff and play hard to get when talking about things." Zhang Chen vaguely remembered who seemed to have said such things to him. Zhang Chen asked, "Is it really that similar?" Lu Yun nodded and said, "It's very similar. By the way, you don't have a translator yet, I will be your translator." "Do you know French?" Zhang Chen asked in surprise, "Why have I never known that before?" Lu Yun said, "We haven't seen each other for many years, how could you know? When I was young, I liked French literature very much, so I studied it by myself. Later, I often went to France for vacation and learned some more." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "You like Duras, right? Girls seem to like Duras." Lu Yun shook her head, "I don't like it." I don't like Duras or Sagan. I like Malraux and Sartre. I like reading Sartre's literary life the most. How about it? Doesn't it look like a girl? Zhang Chen chuckled and said, it still looks like a girl who likes Malraux and Sartre. Lu Yun chuckled. Actually, my favorite is Claude Simon. I like his farming poems and Flanders Road. Lu Yun said. That's the girl who likes Claude Simon, Zhang Chen said. The next day, Zhang Chen arrived at Jinmao building and first went to Xiaofang's company on the 28th floor. Although Xiaofang was not there, he still wanted to take a look. This was still an old habit left over from the renovation, that is, as long as it was whenever you pass a project you designed or did, you should go in and take a look to see if there are any shortcomings or modifications. Everyone in Xiaofang's company knew Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen asked them if they had any problems with the decoration. They all said it was very good and beautiful and there were no problems. Zhang Chen went back to his company, and Xiaomi yelled when she saw him. She said, Mr. Zhang, I was about to call you and made a fool of myself. What's wrong? Zhang Chen asked. The Frenchman has already gone downstairs but refuses to come up. He insists that we go down to the coffee shop to talk. Do you think it's strange? Xiaomi said. Zhang Chen said with a smile, people are afraid that our place is a bandit's den and they will be kidnapped when they come in. He feels very safe in the public places below. It's unreasonable. I think these foreigners themselves are like bandits. Those paintings of his may have been stolen from us in China by burning down the old summer palace, Xiaomi scolded. Zhang Chen laughed loudly and said to Xiaomi, don't worry, it won't be a cultural relic. At the time of the British and French coalition forces, we didn't have oil paintings in the country, so they had no place to rob them. Zhang Chen called Lu Yun as he spoke, and Lu Yun said okay, I'll come down and wait in the lobby. Zhang Chen and Xiaomi went downstairs and waited for a while in the elevator hall. Lu Yun also arrived carrying a computer bag and asked them why they came downstairs. Xiaomi told Lu Yun the other party's request, but Lu Yun didn't take it seriously and smiled. Explain. This is the virtue of the French. The three of them arrived at the coffee shop and saw a thin Frenchman in his 30s sitting there with a Chinese man in his 40s. This Chinese was the husband of Zhang Chen and their private customer. When they saw Xiaomi, and raised his hand, Zhang Chen and the others walked over and sat down. Lu Yun shook hands with the Frenchman, introduced herself in French, and then introduced Zhang Chen. When the client's husband heard that Lu Yun could speak French, he said to Lu Yun, do you want to be a translator? Sir, I'll run away first. He spoke a few words to the foreigner in French, then got up and left. It seemed that he was just doing a favor for his friend, and didn't want to get too involved in the matter. He just ran away when he got an opportunity. After the man left, the Frenchman remained silent, resting his chin with both hands, and kept staring at Xiaomi. Xiaomi was so frightened that he realized that this foreigner thought she was redundant here. Xiaomi, Zhang Chen, and Lu Yun scolded her. Road. This damn foreigner, if I don't leave, will he kill me? Zhang Chen and Lu Yun both laughed. Xiaomi stood up and left, not even bothering to say hello to the foreigner. It was really until Xiaomi left that the Frenchman breathed a sigh of relief, put down his hands, and began to introduce himself. He said his name was Clement, a native of Marseille, and that his great-grandfather was a teaching assistant at the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris. At that time, the family was very wealthy, and his great-grandfather also liked to make friends with people who came to Paris from all over the world to study art. These people were very poor. They had nothing to eat, so they would sell the paintings they painted to his great-grandfather. They were very cheap, 5 to 10 francs. Some of his great-grandfather liked them and asked them to buy them. Their family was in Paris. There was a castle in the suburbs filled with these paintings. After his great-grandfather died, he left them all to him and his sister. In the past few years, they have also sold some, such as those by Zhao Waoqi and Zhu Dekan, which they bought a long time ago at very good prices. There is also an overseas Chinese who bought Su Biang and Pan Yuliang. Zhang Chen was surprised when a Frenchman said these names. It seemed that his great-grandfather was a teaching assistant at the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris during the years when Su Biang, Wu Guanzhong and others went to study abroad. The paintings he was talking about, it should also be the paintings they painted at that time. Zhao Waoqi and Chu Taichun have long been well-known painters in France. Of course, their paintings are easy to sell. It is not surprising that overseas Chinese have bought Su Biang and Pan Yuliang. For some people, they are not the most famous Chinese painters. 1. Whose other paintings do you have? Zhang Chen asked. Clement said, I don't know, you Chinese painters, how do I know? There are probably 182 more paintings, all painted by you Chinese painters. So many, Zhang Chen was surprised. Clement said, didn't I tell you that there are paintings piled up in a castle? There are also painters from India, Vietnam, Mexico, and Japan. The paintings of painters from these places are not valuable. Just listen. My friend said that now some people in China will buy Chinese paintings, so we sorted out all the Chinese paintings. Are there any pictures? Lu Yun asked. Clement said yes. He took out a photo album from his bag and handed it to Zhang Chen. Inside was a picture of a painting. Zhang Chen flipped through the pages and felt frightened. He understood again why he went there. The overseas Chinese who had seen them did not buy these paintings. These paintings seemed great to Zhang Chen, but they were indeed not well known and almost no one knew about them. Zhang Chen saw works by Fang Yunbai, Chang Yu, Liao Xingxiu, Pang Sunken, Lu Saibai, Sha Qi, Lu Ziming, Fang Qinmin, Zhou Bichu, Wu Feiding, He Mukan, Hu Shanyu and many others. He also saw vague signatures, but they must be Wu works by Deu and Chang Shuhong. What makes Zhang Chen strange is that he also saw 3 paintings by Zhu Yunzi. Zhu Yunzi obviously did not study in France, but studied at the California Institute of the Arts in the United States. Later, he did not return to China, but settled in the United States. His paintings, how would it appear here? The only explanation is probably that he gave it to a friend or classmate of his. In embarrassment, this friend or classmate also sold his painting to the Frenchman's great-grandfather. How much do you plan to sell these paintings for? Zhang Chen asked. 8 million euros, Clement said. Zhang Chen's first thought was value. He felt that with this batch of paintings, plus his original collection, his Riverside oil painting gallery could include almost all the painters who studied in France. We can hold a special exhibition of painters studying in France, especially the paintings of some of them, which I had never seen before, but I saw them today, and they are so good. Lu Yun immediately shook her head and told Clementine that it was too expensive. These paintings were not worth the money at all. Lu Yun didn't know much about oil painting, but she knew what Clemente had said before speaking. Lu Yun said, if you still have paintings by Zhao Waoqi, Zhu Dekan, Su Biang and Pan Yuliang, then you are still worth the price. Now, they are all gone. This means that you have already sold everything that is valuable, and these cannot be sold, otherwise you would not have to go to China to sell them. Zhang Chen looked at Lu Yun calmly, although in his opinion, the paintings of those few people may not be more valuable than those of these people. Lu Yun's words seemed to hit a vital point in Clement's heart. He twisted the fingers of his hands together and pushed each other hard to relieve the tension in his heart. He thought for a while and said, we require you to stay abroad, pay us, do you have the money? Lu Yun seemed to be well prepared. She took out her laptop, opened it, plugged in the USB shield, opened a bank page, showed it to Clement, and told him, this is Deutsche Bank, are you right? Clement nodded. Lu Yun moved the computer, turned her back to him, entered her account number and password, then turned the computer over and said to Clement, "Look at my account balance." Clement shuddered, he was frightened by the balance on it. Lu Yun smiled and said to him, "Now that you know our sincerity, can you also show your sincerity?" Clement's face turned red and he was stunned for a moment before he said, 52 million euros, it can't be any less. Thank you Zheng Kanghai for the tip. Thank you Zheng Kanghai, 0HJKLG, 55 Hong, Yuengzi, and Zongkai 727 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1686. Lu Yun looked at Zhang Chen, who whispered, "Okay, then 5,200,000. Lu Yun turned to Clement and did not immediately tell him that it was okay, but asked, "How to deliver? It's impossible for us to go to France to buy it, right?" Clement said, "We can ship it to China, but you have to pay 20,000 euros for shipping first. If you don't want it shipped here, we will have to ship it back. If you want it, we will refund the 20,000 euros at that time for you." Lu Yun smiled slightly and kept shaking her head. After Clement finished speaking, Lu Yun said, "It's impossible. We just saw some photos of you and gave you 20,000 euros. Do you think we would do that?" Clement said, "How could I lie?" Lu Yun said with a smile, "We won't lie. Moreover, our company is here, and we can sign a contract with you in the name of the company. You don't believe us, but you want us to believe you. What do you think?" Clement gritted his teeth and exhaled with a hiss, but Lu Yun's words left him no room to refute. He could only continue to wring his fingers and push against each other hard. He had no choice but to idea. Lu Yun took the photo album, flipped through it, and murmured. She was actually asking Zhang Chen, but to Clement, her expression seemed like she was looking at the painting and talking to herself. Lu Yun asked, "Is any painting in this worth 50,000 euros? Zhang Chen said it was worth it." Lu Yun remained silent and continued to flip through page after page. When she finished flipping through, she closed the album, thought for a while, and then pushed the album back to Clement and said to him, "I think it can be handled this way. You offer 5.2 million, and there are 182 paintings in total, with an average of 28,570 euros per painting. You can bring any of the paintings over to prove that these paintings are indeed in your possession. In your hand, we will give you 50,000 euros. In this way, the 20,000 euros you want are in it. Do you think that's okay? We don't choose, we just want to confirm that these paintings are indeed in your hands. You can bring over the paintings that you think are the least valuable. As long as it is confirmed that these paintings are really in your hands, we are willing to take the risk of 20,000 euros. Clement's eyes lit up and he said, okay, I'll have it delivered tomorrow. Well, when the painting arrives, you can call us at any time, Lu Yun said, took out her business card and handed it to Clement. Clement said goodbye and left. Zhang Chen and Lu Yun looked at each other. They couldn't help but laugh. Lu Yun asked, "How was it?" Zhang Chen nodded and said, "You're right. It's just like doing business with Chinese people. It requires a battle of wits and courage." "Then you have been in Shanghai these days?" Lu Yun asked. Zhang Chen nodded. Lu Yun asked, "How about going to my office and having a working meal?" Zhang Chen shook his head with a grimace and said, "I can't go, I still want to be an escort." "What's wrong?" Xiaomi said that several customers knew that I was in Shanghai today. At noon today, they must invite me to the club to have dinner with them. I want to eat, drink and chat with them, Zhang Chen said. "It's so dire." Lu Yun looked at him and couldn't help laughing. She said, "When did you become a mascot? There is no way. Sometimes, the people below have to follow them, otherwise it will dampen their enthusiasm." That makes sense, Lu Yun nodded. After get off work tonight, I'll cook Sichuan food for you. You'll get tired of eating it out all the time. Zhang Chen waved his hand and said, no, no, you have a hard time at work, and I am a bored idle guy. Anyway, I have nothing to do in the afternoon, so I'd better go shopping for groceries. I'll do it. Anyway, we have the same taste. Spicy is fine. Lu Yun chuckled. Okay, then I will have the honor to try your craftsmanship, Mr. Zhang. The two left the coffee shop and waved goodbye. Lu Yun went upstairs, Zhang Chen went to the parking lot and drove to their club on Changsha Road. In the evening, the doorbell rang, Zhang Chen opened the door, and Lu Yun stood outside the door, holding a large bouquet of flowers in one hand and a bottle of red wine in the other. Zhang Chen quickly took the red wine from her hand. Lu Yun told him that this was not a famous brand wine. She picked it by herself at the winery when she went to France. It tasted good. Zhang Chen looked at the wine label with great interest. It was a colorful oil painting in the style of Bruegel. Zhang Chen asked, "What brand is this? I haven't seen it before." "There is no brand, and it is not for sale. It is a customer of ours. It is a family tradition. I drink the wine produced by my own winery and give it away to others. However, that winery also has a history of more than 400 years. This wine also has a history of more than 400 years. It has been hidden for more than 80 years," Lu Yun said. Zhang Chen nodded. When the two of them went to the restaurant, Lu Yun screamed. She saw that Zhang Chen had already prepared the dishes. The most eye-catching thing was a pot of spicy fish fillets with red soup, sitting on the induction cooker, gurgling. In the heat, the other dishes are also green, white, turmeric, and red pepper. Lu Yun shouted, as expected of a painter, "These dishes are so pleasing to the eye." As she spoke, she put the flowers in her hands into the vase at the other end of the dining table, and the cold corner suddenly became lively. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Let's eat." Lu Yun nodded yeah and left. When she came back after washing her hands, Zhang Chen had already opened the wine. Lu Yun couldn't wait to pick up the chopsticks and shouted, "I want to eat," then picked up a piece of fish and put it on the table. "Put it in your mouth, chew it, and praise vaguely. Delicious, delicious, this fish is delicious." Zhang Chen said, "I just made it casually according to the way our hometown makes it. Unfortunately, this is just ordinary silver carp. It would be more delicious if it was made with the bald fish from Qiandao Lake." "Then I will go to Qiandao Lake with you next time," Lu Yun said. Zhang Chen said yes. In Shanghai in November, the night breeze was already a bit cold, but after eating, Zhang Chen and Lu Yun went to sit on the terrace. Below, the warm yellow and incandescent lights outline the softness and windingness of Century Park. Someone is walking in the park, dragging their figure. The figure lengthens and shortens. The two of them had just finished a bottle of red wine, and were sweating profusely from eating the hot spicy fish fillets. At this time, they were sitting here, with the cool night breeze blowing on their faces, but it was just right, and it was indescribable. Comfortable. The two of them had bloated stomachs. They were drinking hot tea and looking at the endless night in front of them. Their expressions were a little lazy. They talked intermittently. Lu Yun asked, "By the way, how are Lao Meng and Qian Fang doing now?" Zhang Chen said, "Qian Fang and the others are fine, but Meng Ping is missing." Lu Yun was surprised and asked, "Why?" Zhang Chen was silent. The two of them had been avoiding mentioning Lu Ligan's name for a while, but now, they had to mention it. Zhang Chen also felt that continuous avoidance was not the answer. The past existed in there, no one can erase it with one stroke. Zhang Chen said, "Meng Ping and Zhuangzi disappeared together. Do you know about Zanzi?" After being silent for a while, Lu Yun said, "I know a little bit. I'm not very clear about the details. I just know that there was a financial problem with their company. Later, Didn't you help them get out of trouble? They also held an extraordinary shareholders meeting and re-elected the chairman. Actually, they are individuals who owe loan sharks and have nothing to do with the company's finances. The company is dragged down by them, Zhang Chen said. Loan shark? Lu Yun was surprised again. How could they owe us loan sharks? I don't know the specific reason or what they did with the money, Zhang Chen said. There were 3 people, and one was our friend Lao Ni. In the end, 1 died and 2 ran away. It was Lao Ni who died. Lu Yun was shocked and asked, is the Lao Ni you are talking about the boss of Dahua Chemical Fiber? Zhang Chen said yes. Do you know him? Lu Yun immediately understood what happened. Lu Yun said, I don't know him, I just know this person. After saying that, Lu Yun fell silent. She understood that she had killed all the way that year. It turned out that she had killed not only Lao Ni, but also Meng Ping and Lu Ligan. When Lu Yun saw the news of Lao Ni's death from the newspaper, although the newspaper was vague and said that he died of illness, Lu Yun knew the real reason. She felt a little guilty, but she quickly convinced herself. People say that the financial field is a battlefield without smoke. Since it is a battlefield, there are no undead people. Every financial tsunami or major crash is accompanied by countless people. According to Hong Kong people, jumping off a building and committing suicide are burning charcoal. Just like Lao Ni's way of playing, it's either today or tomorrow, either here or there. His fate is almost doomed. Every step he takes is the rhythm of his own death. No one can save him. It's just that he was closer to Lu Yun and the others, allowing them to sense and hear his death, which made her feel a little guilty. In fact, every time they make a lot of money, how can you know that, on the other side of the world, there are no desperate people walking towards the edge of the building? Finance, to put it bluntly, is so bloody. Therefore, wars will break out between countries, and capital exploitation and oppression, such as the Southeast Asian financial crisis or the subprime mortgage crisis, have taken away the wealth, dreams, and even lives of many countries and people. No one will feel guilty about those plunderers. Even God seems to be on the side of those plunderers, making them look like God's favorites with their bright clothes and vigorous steps. In the financial field, every number is cold and there is no kindness or compassion at all. Lu Yun has been immersed in this industry for a long time. She has already learned not to delve into many truths and not to try to understand through phenomena. Seeing the true nature and the end of every road clearly, she has already learned to treat everything calmly. If you can't learn, please leave this industry, or you will be the next person to walk to the edge of the building. However, Lu Yun still felt a little chilly in her heart and a little dizzy when she thought about her massive conquest. It was not only Lao Ni who fell, but also Lu Ligan and Meng Ping. Zhang Chen turned to look at Lu Yun. He saw her eyes looking into the distance with something strange on her face. Zhang Chen thought Lu Yun was remembering her past with Lu Ligan. Zhang Chen couldn't find the right words to say. After a long time, Lu Yun sighed and murmured, "Why does this Lao Meng speculate in futures?" Zhang Chen was surprised and asked Lu Yun, "You said Meng Ping was speculating in futures. How did you know?" Lu Yun said, "That old Ni is originally a big shot in the futures industry. They worked together and owed so much money. What else can they do besides speculating in futures? They have lost everything." Zhang Chen understood. He also remembered that he had heard Lu Ligan tell him before about how much money Lao Ni had made by speculating on futures. He also thought about Meng Ping's several appearances in Hangzhou, which made him a little sneaky. It turned out that this guy was with Lu Ligan went to speculate in futures with Lao Ni. They knew that if they, Tan Shahen, Qian Fang and others knew about it, they would definitely object, so they kept hiding it from themselves. Damn it, these two gamblers. There is no way, this is fate. Lu Yun sighed with emotion. Thank you for reading Different Moods, Quadratic VC, 1 up and 1 down 2 fishes, a little after 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, and Baby Tin Soldier. Thank you for your monthly votes for Reading is Different, Baby Tin Soldier, Taizong Shang 1, Book Friends 202009121135200727, Hydrogen Oxide Disinfection Knowledge Bureau, Hoo Hoo, Fan Pei's Journey to the West, 55 Hong, Wang Qingxi, Qian Dad, and Guzio Kyokiu. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Happy Sunday everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1687. Now that they had talked about it, the conversation between the two became more relaxed. Zhang Chen and Lu Yun talked about how Li Yong almost fell out with Lu Li Pole after she left. Others were also scolding Pole. They all thought that it was Lu Ligan who made Lu Yun angry. It's really my decision to leave, it has nothing to do with the Pole, Lu Yun said. Why? Zhang Chen asked. Love without results is Lingqi. I have to end it myself, Lu Yun said. Zhang Chen sighed, that still has something to do with the Pole. Lu Yun was silent. We always thought you would be in Nanjing, Qianfang and Sujiaking. After returning to Nanjing, they searched all the golf courses under construction near Nanjing and couldn't find you, Zhang Chen said. Originally, I really wanted to go to Nanjing, but because something happened in Shanghai, I didn't go, so I stayed in Shanghai to look for a job. Lu Yun told Zhang Chen about her experience in Shanghai, why she wanted to leave those Taiwanese people, and how she met the old American lady when applying for a job. She was the one who brought her into this industry. Zhang Chen nodded and said, no wonder. I left at that time because I felt that I didn't want to drag things out, and dragging things out would mean that I couldn't completely settle with the past. So I cut off contact with everyone and left completely, just because I wanted to start over. Zhang Chen, I hope you can understand, Lu Yun said. Zhang Chen nodded and said, understood. In fact, no one meant to blame, but felt pity and even a little guilty. Guilty, why? Lu Yun asked. I feel like there is nothing I can do for you, Zhang Chen said. What can other people do about the matter between two people? Lu Yun said with a smile. At that time, I couldn't face myself, so I felt that I had to be so decisive. But now it's better. Now when I see the Pole again, I just want to nod and say hello, that's it, but Lu Yun originally wanted to say, I feel sorry for Lao Meng, but after thinking about it, she did not say it, but the apology in her heart was still there. She felt that at that time, if she knew that there was Lu Ligan behind Lao Ni, she would not have. She was sure whether she would violate her professional ethics and let them go, but if she knew that Lao Meng was still there, she would definitely stop. She would also take Lao Meng out and scold him until he sobered up. Lu Yun has been in this industry for so long, and can be said to have met countless people. She knows very well that Lao Meng's personality and person simply don't want to touch any futures, stocks, or foreign exchange. He is the kind of person who is doomed to lose miserably in the financial battlefield. Coupled with Lu Ligan and Lao Ni, the three of them are simply a joke combination, the kind of people who run into the casino with the word pig on their foreheads. Lu Yun sighed secretly again. Zhang Chen laughed softly, and Lu Yun asked, why are you laughing? Zhang Chen said, it's a bit funny to think about it. In fact, each of us, for a long time or a short time, disappeared from everyone's sight for a period of time. When Xiao Zhao and I returned to Hangzhou, we had no contact with anyone for a period of time. Brother Tan, Lao Meng, and Ganzi are also looking for us. Thinking about it now, it's actually an adjustment period. It means that the previous life is suddenly interrupted. You need to adjust yourself before you can adapt and enter the new life. People are not cars, so you can't turn around when you say it, and turn when you say it? Lu Yun was right, it still meant something like that, and the other thing was that in this period, people are faced with new things every day, and some are overwhelmed, so they must go all out. Zhang Chen said yes, Lu Yun, you are right. The night gradually got darker, and after she had stopped sweating, her body gradually became colder. Lu Yun stood up, walked to the edge of the terrace, and looked down at Century Park. She turned around and said to Zhang Chen, "Let's go for a walk in the park down there, okay?" Zhang Chen said yes. Clement called Lu Yun and told her that the painting had been brought from France. This time, he did not insist on meeting at the coffee shop below the Jinmao Tower. Instead, he made an appointment with Lu Yun. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they come to Lu Yun's office. Lu Yun called Zhang Chen and told him the matter. At 1:30 in the afternoon, Zhang Chen arrived at Lu Yun's office. The two of them waited until 2 o'clock. On time, the lady at the front desk came with Clement and a female foreigner. The female foreigner was exactly the opposite of Clement. She has blonde hair and is very fat. After introducing each other, we found out that this woman was Clement's sister, and it was she who had brought the paintings over from France. Opening several layers of well-packaged craft paper, Zhang Chen saw that what they brought was a portrait of Hu Shanyu, one of the photos in the album. Clement's sister told them that the painting in this painting was their great-grandfather, meaning to tell Zhang Chen and the others that this was her carefully selected one, and to let their great-grandfather witness their transaction. Lu Yun cursed in Chinese, "You still have the nerve to sell your great-grandfather." Zhang Chen smiled. Zhang Chen asked Clement for the bank account name and account number, compiled a text message and sent it to Zhao Jingjing, then called her and asked her to arrange for the withdrawal of 50,000 euros from their overseas account. When Zhang Chen was on the phone, he could see that Clement and his sister were both a little nervous and a little excited. Clement began to push against each other's twisted fingers again and again. It wasn't until Zhao Jingjing called to say that the money had been remitted, and Lu Yun told them that Clement's sister opened her laptop to check and confirmed that the money had arrived, that the two of them breathed a sigh of relief. Everyone then started to talk about the subsequent handover. Clement and Zhang Chen said that they would return to France tomorrow and would pack the remaining 181 paintings one by one and transport them in containers to Shanghai. Finally, it will be shipped to his friend's warehouse, where the two parties will hand over it. All the paintings have been counted and accepted. If you pay us the remaining 5.15 million euros, this batch of paintings will be yours. Zhang Chen agreed and asked where his friend's warehouse was. Clement was not very willing to tell him, but just told him that he would be notified when the time came. Clement's sister gave them a photo album. Zhang Chen looked at it and found that it was the same as what he saw that day. Clement's sister told them that she had developed another set of photos. When the time comes, you can use them according to the photo album. This photo is for inspection. Lu Yun smiled and praised her, "You are still careful." Clement's sister laughed, and her round face turned red instantly, showing excitement. Zhang Chen remembered and asked Clement, "You said there are thousands of oil paintings in your great-grandfather's castle." Clement said yes, but they are not valuable. As I said, they were painted by international students from other countries at that time. Clement's sister also said that as long as they are by Chinese painters, we have selected them all and they are all here. Do you have any photos of that batch of paintings? Zhang Chen asked, and both of them shook their heads. Clement's sister muttered with some disdain, asking who would have time to take pictures like that. Zhang Chen then asked, "How many paintings are there in that batch?" "There must be more than 2,000 paintings," said Clement's sister. "Can you sell it to me?" Zhang Chen asked. "Of course," Clement said. He and his sister both looked at Zhang Chen, wondering whether he really wanted it or was joking. 1 million euros, okay, Zhang Chen said. When Lu Yun heard this, she quickly stopped her. She said, "Zhang Chen, You haven't even seen the painting, how can you buy it? Zhang Chen said, I bought it to store information. I am very curious about the information about Su Biong's contemporaries in Asia and other parts of the world. I would like to see how their level compares with this group of painters from our country but if you can get into the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris, your level shouldn't be too bad, so it's still worth buying. The most important thing is that with this batch of paintings, our Riverside Oil Painting Gallery will have many special exhibitions, such as exhibitions of works by Wu Guanzhong and his contemporaries, Paris fine arts in the 1920s and 1930s, etc. There are exhibitions of works by college students, etc. This is information that other art museums in the country do not have. Lu Yun heard that it made sense, so she translated Zhang Chen's meaning to Clement and his sister. When the two heard that Zhang Chen wanted the pile of things that they thought were rubbish, they immediately became excited. Chatting with Lu Yun, finally, Lu Yun and Zhang Chen said, We've negotiated, but it's not that expensive. It's 650,000 euros. They'll sell you all the paintings, guaranteeing that the total number will be more than 2,000. Zhang Chen said, yes, you are still good. This time, you saved me 350,000 euros. Lu Yun glanced at him and said with a smile, I have never seen you doing business like this. You can't even bargain. Zhang Chen chuckled, I really don't know how to do it. Then how did you sell clothes in the past? I understand, Xiao Zhao was selling them, right, Lu Yun said. You really guessed wrong, Zhang Chen said, Xiao Zhao can't sell clothes to me. I don't believe it, Lu Yun said. Really, I sell clothes in my own way. It's a bit complicated to explain. I'll explain it to you later, Zhang Chen said with a smile. Clement and his sister said goodbye and left. Zhang Chen took Hu Shanyu's oil painting and was preparing to return to Hangzhou. He would come back when Clement and his things arrived. Lu Yun sent Zhang Chen out, and the two of them walked to the front desk. Ren Rongrong walked in from the door and was stunned for a moment when he saw Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen also saw her and greeted her, what a coincidence, you are here now. Ren Rongrong could only call Mr. Zhang and said, yes, I have been working here for a long time. She nodded to Lu Yun and walked away. Lu Yun sent Zhang Chen to the elevator hall. While the two were waiting for the elevator, Lu Yun asked Zhang Chen. Do you know Ren Rongrong from our company? Yes, she used to work at Lao Ni's place, and I met her a few times. Then she left her job. I didn't expect to come to your place. The world is so small, Zhang Chen said. By the way, what is she doing here? Vice President Lu Yun said, her heart skipping a beat. Zhang Chen nodded, that's really good. Although she had already guessed it, Lu Yun still wanted to confirm it. She asked Zhang Chen, which Lao Ni are you talking about earlier? Zhang Chen said, the one we talked about that night, Lao Ni from Kikiao Dewa Chemical Fiber, was with Mengping, Ganzi, and the others. Lu Yun smiled and said, that's a coincidence. Thanks for the half-drunk tip. Thank you to Fan Pei's Journey to the West and Lupu Eco Home Ecological Woodmew for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1688. Lu Yun returned to her office, sat down, pulled up Ren Rongrong's personnel file from the computer, and read it carefully. After reading it, Lu Yun took a deep breath. In the resume filled out by Ren Rongrong, as Lu Yun expected, there was no experience in Lao Ni Company. If he had, Lu Yun would not forget that when studying Dewa chemical fiber and deciding to make it his goal, Lu Yun would definitely exclude, and among the people they had connections with, they would exclude Ren Rongrong and would only allow her to play a technical support role. The board is cold, but no matter how cold the board is, it is still operated by people, and people are unreliable. As long as you are inextricably connected with your opponent, no matter what the connection is, you are when trading, personal emotions and factors will definitely be mixed in, which will affect objective judgment, which Lu Yun does not allow. Although in that battle, Lu Yun now thinks about it, Ren Rongrong did not make any big mistakes, but this can only be regarded as a fluke and the disparity in strength between the two sides, rather than the result of precise technical analysis of the board. Lu Yun even understood why Ren Rongrong deliberately concealed this experience of hers when applying for a job. She could almost conclude that this experience must be unpleasant for Ren Rongrong. When Ren Rongrong entered the company, including her report to Lu Yun provide various information, and finally let the chemical fiber enter their field of vision. Lu Yun took a breath and realized that all this was deliberately arranged by Ren Rongrong. She was the director and protagonist of this drama, and she just cooperated with her. This made Lu Yun feel very uncomfortable and even shuddered. The market is cold, cruel, and bloody, but it is not everything to a person. You should not let the market influence you. You are the trader, not the other way around. Can you distinguish between the inside and outside of the market, and between work and work? Life and life are also a manifestation of a person's self-control. Only bad gamblers will immerse their entire lives in the word gambling. At the same time, Lu Yun also hopes that when they leave the market, their trader will still be a human being with warmth, not a freak. Freaks are the most elusive and unpredictable, and they will be like one piece after another. No one will know when the bomb will detonate. Lu Yun thought to herself, you should treat people you know with kindness, even if they are enemies, you should maintain the most basic respect instead of humiliating them. At this point, Lu Yun particularly admired the Jews. This was also the reason why the Jews had been able to control the world's financial circles for a long time. They could conspire to squeeze out a white man of Irish, Scottish, or Dutch descent from Wall Street, but they rarely fought on their own. Both sides suffer losses. No matter what happened between Ren Rongrong and Lao Ni, Lu Yun also felt that Ren Rongrong was too cold-blooded to cut to the bone and still keep his eyes open. Someone knocked on the door and Lu Yun said, "Come in." Ren Rongrong walked in and reported the matter to Lu Yun, while observing her carefully. Lu Yun remained calm and responded casually. She knew in her heart that as for the matter at hand, it could be said or not. Ren Rongrong's coming in now and reporting on the work was just an excuse. Her real purpose was to come and see if Zhang Chen had revealed her background to Lu Yun. Lu Yun would not give her the answer. Ren Rongrong walked out, and Lu Yun looked at her back and thought, will there come a day when Ren Rongrong will treat her like Lao Ni? Lu Yun smiled and shook her head. She was thinking that she needed to sort out everything Ren Rongrong had done over the years. When Clement shipped the painting to Shanghai, it was already December. Xiaofang had already returned to Shanghai. Xiaoshu and Zhao Xian had also returned from New York. Lu Yun called Zhang Chen and Clement said, he will tell us the delivery warehouse at noon tomorrow. You can come over today. Zhang Chen said yes. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen called Zhao Xian, Xiaoshu, and Yao Fen and asked them to go to Shanghai with him to pick up this batch of paintings. There were thousands of works to be received, especially the 181 paintings. They have to check the authenticity one by one. Zhang Chen is afraid that he will be too busy alone. Moreover, Xiaoshu and the three of them were already excited when they heard Zhang Chen said that such a large batch of paintings was coming in. They asked to go to Shanghai with Zhang Chen, and Zhang Chen agreed to them. Zhang Chen also thought that if the works of such a large number of painters studying in France returned to China, it would definitely be a big news and a major event worth recording if it spread in the art world. Zhang Chen called Lu Qing, and Lu Qing said that they would come to Shanghai immediately. They wanted to witness this moment and leave behind images. In the evening of that day, when Zhang Chen and the others arrived at Pudong Tuxianjiayuan Hotel, Lu Yun and Xiaofang had already arrived. Not long after they sat down, Xiaomi went to the airport to pick up Lu Qing and his party, and they also arrived. Zhang Chen discussed with everyone during the meal that tomorrow he would focus on inspecting the 181 paintings. There was no agreement on the other paintings as long as they were in large quantities. Considering such a large number of works, if they arrive at the warehouse of Riverside Oil Painting Gallery together, the warehouse space is too small and it will be very inconvenient to organize them. Zhang Chen said that after delivery, they will be brought to our own logistic space first, and we will cleaning, classification and cataloging are carried out here, works that need to be repaired or cleaned are selected, and the last batch is transported back to Hangzhou. Those that do not need to be repaired or cleaned are transported back to Hangzhou and put into storage directly. Zhao Xian also thinks this is good. She said that otherwise, such a large number of paintings would arrive together, and she really wouldn't know what to do with them. Zhang Chen called Lao Ren and told him the matter. He asked him to prepare a warehouse tomorrow and arrange for security guards to be on duty 24 hours a day. Zhang Chen estimated that it would take a day or two to complete the work. All these things are done. Lu Yun contacted Clement by phone. Clement immediately rejected Lu Qing's request to film the handover process, and refused to be interviewed. Even he and his sister were unwilling to appear on camera. Clement said, "No matter what you need to shoot, please do it after delivery. At that time, the painting already belongs to you, and you are free to shoot how you want." Lu Qing took the phone from Lu Yun. She discussed it directly with Clement in French and repeatedly emphasized that what they were shooting was not news, but just a video record as a witness. But Clement still insisted on his opinion. If he didn't agree, he didn't agree. He didn't even agree that there were too many people at the scene, and suggested that only Zhang Chen and Lu Yun could be present. Zhang Chen asked Lu Yun to tell him that this was impossible. Those paintings had to be checked for authenticity. 181 paintings were impossible for him to handle alone. Of course, if Clement was willing to wait one night, that was fine. Clement finally agreed that Zhao Xian, Yao Fen, and Xiao Shu could also be present, as well as Xiao Fang, who needed to transfer money on the spot, but other people were no longer allowed. Lu Qing was very sorry. She said, "I have already thought about taking a picture of the moment when the container is opened. This is the historical shot." Zhang Chen said, "There is no other way but to close the container door and open it again after the delivery is completed." The feeling in my heart was different then, Lu Qing said, and Zhang Chen felt the same. Lu Yun arranged 2 vans, one for her and Zhang Chen, Xiao Fang, Xiaoshu, Yao Fen, and Zhao Xian. Lu Qing and his camera team followed them in another van. After entering the reservoir area, just wait aside and wait for Zhang Chen's call before going over. At noon the next day, everyone ate fast food and eagerly sat in the conference room of Xiaofang's company to wait. That Clement was really a rigid person. He said noon, but it was exactly 12 o'clock on time before he called Lu Yun and told her where he was going. Lu Yun put down the phone and laughed, cursing, "This French guy doesn't do his homework either." Zhang Chen asked what happened. "Where do you think the delivery is?" "Where?" Zhang Chen asked. "It's at your logistics space in Songjiang," Lu Yun said. Everyone in the conference room laughed, and Zhang Chen shouted, "That's great. Just pull the container to the next door when it's done." Fortunately, I didn't tell him that the logistics space was yours. Otherwise, do you think he would be frightened? Lu Yun asked, and Lu Qing said, "Definitely." Everyone laughed wildly again and started to leave. Zhang Chen called Lao Ren on the way and told him the warehouse number. After a while, Lao Ren called back and told Zhang Chen that there were 2, one big and one small. Only the container arrived, and there were 3 foreigners. Lao Ren joked, "Mr. Zhang, do you want me to pick them up?" Zhang Chen and the others arrived at the logistics space. Lao Ren and Xiao Jun were waiting for them at the gate. Zhang Chen asked Xiao Jun to take Lu Qing and the others to the office to rest. Lao Ren got in their car, and Xiao Shu drove the car. According to Lao Ren's instructions, They headed towards drive inside the reservoir area. In the new logistic space, 90% of the warehouses have been rented out, and it is a busy scene. Lao Ren and Zhang Chen said that all the warehouses here can be rented out before the end of the year, and Zhang Chen agreed. This number 7-38 is Shanghai Yahua's warehouse, moved from the old base, Lao Ren told them. They arrived at warehouse number 7-38. There were 2 container trucks parked at the door of the warehouse. 3 foreigners and a Chinese were sitting at the door basking in the sun. Zayasha drove the car to the side of them and stopped, and everyone got out of the car. Zhang Chen saw that Clement and his sister were there, and there was a foreigner he didn't recognize. When the Chinese man saw Lao Ren, he quickly came over to shake his hand and asked him, "Mr. Ren, is it your friend who received this batch of goods?" "What friend?" "He's my boss." Lao Ren pointed at Zhang Chen and said, and the other party laughed and cursed, "If I had known this, we wouldn't have had to come here, and we were so nervous." He then spoke to another foreigner in French, and that person also laughed. After the introduction, he found out that he was a staff member of the French consulate. It seemed that Clement had invited him to escort him. He was indeed a bit nervous. Zhang Chen then explained Lu Qing's request to the consulate. When the other party heard that it was from CCTV, they directly said yes without asking Clement's opinion. Zhang Chen called Lu Qing and asked them to come over. Here, the people from the consulate also talked to Clement, but Clement and the others had nothing to say. The 2 containers, the larger one, contained the 2,524 paintings. This number was told by Clement to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen agreed, and he and Zayashu and the others said that there was nothing wrong with that. For inspection, as long as it is a painting, it will be taken to our warehouse first, and we will slowly inventory it, focusing on checking this small cabinet first. Lu Qing and the others arrived, and the camera came over with the camera. Zhang Chen stood in front of the container door. The truck driver came over, unlocked the door, and opened the door. Zhang Chen saw that there were rows of vertical containers inside, neatly stacked. There are flat wooden boxes, and each box contains a painting. For some reason, Zhang Chen's heart suddenly tightened and his eyes turned red. He said softly, "I'm back." He thought of the young men and women in their teens and 20s who were studying in foreign lands, suffering hardships and living without a settlement. They sold these paintings to a Frenchman for 5 or 10 francs, as Clement said. People. Nowadays, the people who sold and bought paintings have passed away, and these paintings are finally back, and they will be hung in their Riverside oil painting gallery. All the past moments will hang there one by one, and their names, many of which have been almost obscured by the dust of history, will be recognized again one by one. Thank you for the rewards from Zenki, Quadratic VC, 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, Dal Tin Soldier, third from top to bottom, 2 fishes 1 up and 1 down, and reading books every day. Thank you Hoo and How, Book Friends 201901092142571774, Wang Qingxi, Rainman, Ming Xing Unseeing, Win San Liu, Book Friends 201901180252244314, it's past 3 in the middle of the night, and Tianying 1978 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Happy holidays to everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1689. There is almost nothing to check in the large container. When you open it, you will find that the paintings inside are different from those in the small container. They are no longer packed in wooden boxes, but are packed in layers of craft paper, and then stacked in piles. In the container, Zhang Chen and Xiao Shu took out 2 pictures at random, removed the wrapping paper outside, and looked at them, feeling a little surprised. They saw that one of the 2 paintings was painted by a Thai painter, and the other seemed to be the work of a Vietnamese painter. To their surprise, the quality was quite good. Zayashu said, I haven't heard of any decent painters in these two countries. Zhang Chen sighed and said, I'm afraid even someone as cool as Lin Fengmian will be buried in these countries. I don't see people handling their works like this. However, 20 years ago, our domestic oil painters, the fate is not much better than theirs. I am afraid it will be even worse than theirs. A package of chicken cakes can be exchanged for 2 oil paintings. What I say is true. Xiaoshu nodded. I know, my mentors and others have experienced it. The paintings in this container were very old, looked dull, and had not been cleaned. The rough estimate was that there were more than 2,000 paintings. Zhang Chen said that he didn't want to look at it anymore, so he might as well take it to our warehouse later. And then sort them out one by one. Xiaoshu said yes. The 2 people came out of the container, closed the door again, and walked to the small container. Lao Ren called 2 workers over and took out more than a dozen paintings from a wooden box. Zhang Chen took a look and found that all the paintings in this part had been cleaned and repaired, even the peeling oil paint have also been filled in, and the cracked parts of the picture have also been reinforced with isinglass. It seemed that Clement was quite serious and responsible in his work. However, Zhang Chen thought that it might be that they knew that the paintings of Chinese oil painters were now easy to sell, so they had already hired someone to repair them in advance to try to get a good price. When I asked, it turned out to be true. Zhang Chen looked at the things that had been opened and saw that they were all authentic. They were all included in the photo album. Zhang Chen told the 2 workers that there was no need to open them and asked them to put the opened ones back into the wooden box. Help me count, can 181 boxes be enough? The other people looked at Zhang Chen, and Zhang Chen said, that's right. Since they have been cleaned and repaired, they can be put directly into the warehouse of our art museum. This way, they will be safer during transportation and will not be knocked off. Zhao Xian nodded and said, that makes sense. Zhang Chen asked Xiao Fang to transfer 5.8 million euros to Clement from their overseas account. Zhang Chen discussed with the driver of the small container truck and asked him to go directly to Hangzhou. He also told Zhao Xian and Yao Fen that you 2 should follow the car back. Xiaoshu and I are here to collect the paintings of that container. Sort it out. Yao Fen said, with such a large quantity, how can you 2 make it in time? I will stay here to help. Zhang Chen hesitated. It would be great if Yao Fen could stay and help, but he was worried that it would not be very safe for a girl like Zhao Xian to escort the car. Lao Ren saw what Zhang Chen was worried about, and he said, I will send one here. The security guard will escort the car to Hangzhou with Director Zhao, and then follow the car back. Zhang Chen thought this was good, and he said yes, let's arrange it this way. Clement's sister told them that the money had arrived, which meant that the money was settled and the 2 containers of paintings belonged to Zhang Chen. Clement and Zhang Chen shook hands one by one. The 4 of them said goodbye and left in a car. Zhang Chen asked the small container truck to go and the large container truck to their own warehouse. Zhang Chen asked Lao Ren to arrange for people to unload the goods into the warehouse first and lay them out. When unloading the goods, be gentle. Lao Ren said yes, I stare at the scene. Lao Ren climbed into the cab of the large container truck, directed the driver, and drove away. The camera was filming the big scene in the entire reservoir area. After he finished filming, Zhang Chen asked Lu Cheng, are you going to Hangzhou with us, or are you here? Lu Cheng smiled and said, we will follow you. Zhang Chen said yes, the part of the painting we compiled can also be photographed and used as material. I already have several topics in my mind. Lu Cheng smiled and said, okay. Zhang Chen asked Xiao Fang and Lu Yun to go back to the company and tell them that we will start working right away. It will definitely be very late today. Then we will find a hotel in Songjiang to stay and we will continue working tomorrow. Lu Yun said, why, do you use people to face the front instead of people to the back? We will kick people out when they are used up. Can't we be here to see how you work? Xiaofang said, we can also help. Zhang Chen said with a smile, what's so beautiful about it? It's very dirty. Just take a painting apart and register it. Those that can be cleaned should be cleaned first. Those that cannot be cleaned directly need to be reinforced with isinglass first and shipped back. No matter how slowly the city is cleaned and repaired, it will be a boring job and there is nothing to see. We are not afraid of being boring, Lu Yun asked with a smile. Besides, if the signature is in French, can you understand it? You don't need me and Lu Qing. Lu Qing said, I agree. Zhang Chen waved his hands repeatedly, okay, I haven't thought about this. Then everyone will stay and let's go to the warehouse. Everyone got in the car and the two cars drove to their warehouse, where Lao Ren was directing the workers to unload the goods. They walked into the warehouse and saw a layer of wooden pallets on the epoxy paint floor of the warehouse. The workers they stacked the goods unloaded from the container trucks on the pallets. Lao Ren kept telling the workers not to stack them too high, but to put them loosely. In the warehouse, Lao Ren had moved a ping-pong table from somewhere. This was for Zhang Chen and the others to work on. On the ping-pong table, there were water, watering cans, baby soap, alcohol, and bottles of different sizes. Brushes and rags, cotton swabs, bottles of gelatin, and a circle of chairs beside the ping-pong table. A little further on, there is a large empty wooden pallet, which is intended to be used to place the cleaned works. Lao Ren asked Zhang Chen, what else do you need? I'll ask someone to find it. We have everything in the reservoir area except arms and drugs. Zhang Chen thought for a while and said, please help me find lithopone, turpentine, oil paints, scrapers, and oil brushes of various specifications. By the way, there is also a pallet. I will see what can be repaired directly later, just fix it. Lao Ren agreed, and he called a worker over and asked him to remember these things and go look for them in the warehouse of the company that sells cultural supplies. Zhang Chen told the worker that he might have to go to the paint warehouse to find lithopone. Xiaoshu and Yao Fen had already started working. Lu Qing led the camera and was taking pictures around them. Zhang Chen stood there and watched the workers unloading the goods. After unloading, they brought in piles of goods without even frames. A piece of canvas or oil painting paper directly, with a piece of newspaper separated on top, and a painting placed on it. Zhang Chen shook his head. The things were really complicated. It looked like the Clement siblings had really emptied their great-grandfather's entire castle into this container. Brother-in-law, come here and take a look, Xiaoshu shouted. Zhang Chen hurried over. Xiaoshu and Yao Fen were standing there, staring at a painting on the tennis table. Zhang Chen walked to the edge and was also surprised, blurting out, no way. Even if it's an imitation, it's too similar and awesome, Xiaoshu said. Zhang Chen lay down and looked at the signature carefully, then straightened up and stared at the painting. After looking at it for a while, Zhang Chen shook his head. They are either imitations or authentic works. The works of Picasso's Blue period are not as distinctive as the later Cubist period, so they are mixed in this large number of works and have not been discovered. Xiaoshu became excited. I think it's an authentic work. If that's the case. Zhang Chen smiled slightly. This painting is worth tens of millions of dollars, and it will be the only authentic work of Picasso owned by domestic art museums. It is also a newly discovered work by Picasso, which will shock the world's art world. When other people heard Zhang Chen's words, they all became excited. Lu Qing quickly called for the camera to come over and take pictures. Zhang Chen thought for a while and said to Xiaoshu and Yao Fen, don't organize it yet. First, open all the paintings and check them. I feel that this is not the only one. That pair of siblings are so ignorant. Xiaoshu and Yao Fen quickly agreed, and Xiaofang and Lu Yun also took utility knives and helped to remove the craft paper wrapped outside. A group of people excitedly took apart the paintings until about 9 o'clock in the evening. They even forgot to eat dinner. Then they finished taking apart all the paintings. On the table tennis table, there were dozens of paintings. Zhang Chen and Xiao Shu and Yao Fen looked at each other, they were all frightened. As a result of the demolition, 2 more works from Picasso's Blue Period, 1 from the Pink Period, 4 works by Miro, 2 works by Paul Klee, 1 work by Dali, and 3 works by Pissarro were discovered. There are also 2 landscape paintings and 2 works by Rousseau. Zhang Chen is not sure, but they should be works by Braque. The largest number is by Matisse, with 7 works. Zhang Chen, Lu Yun, and Xiao Fang explained one by one whose work this is and what its status is in the history of world art. Lu Yun and Xiao Fang were also stunned for a while. Xiao Fang asked, "How will those 2 siblings react if they find out?" "Probably even wanting to die," Xiaoshu smiled. "That's useless. There is no regret medicine in this world," Lu Yun said. "I'm thinking, if this is the case, our oil painting gallery," Yao Fen said. "Then the impact will not be domestic, but global. Scholars who study Matisse, Picasso, and Miro will regard our place as their must-visit place." As Zhang Chen was talking, he remembered that these paintings were not worth much at the time of Clement's great-grandfather and his friends. This rich kid must have bought them because he liked them so much. The piles of paintings were mixed together, and maybe even he himself forgot to buy these paintings later. The most important thing is that there are too many paintings in the castle, and most of them are piled up in piles like this, so the works of these masters are also buried inside. Zhang Chen looked at his watch and said, "Let's go have dinner. It looks like we need more security here." No, I want to put all these paintings on the car," Xiaoshu said. "I think we should all move to Xiaofang's house," Lu Yun said. "Let's go back to the city to eat. We can continue here tomorrow." When Zhang Chen heard what Lu Yun said made sense, these works were really too precious. If they were left here, he might worry about them while lying in bed at night. Zhang Chen agreed, "We will move the car up and then return to the city." Thank you to Wang Qingxi, Shi Yitan, and Hao, Huaxin Yongxiao, Gongzimayanzi, and book friends 2021030110657787119 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1690. At around 10 o'clock in the evening, Zhao Xian called Zhang Chen and told Zhang Chen that all 181 works had been safely put into storage. Zhang Chen said, "Yes, thank you for your hard work." Zhang Chen told Zhao Xian the news that they found works by Picasso, Miro, Matisse, and others in the large container. "Really? Boss, is it true? You didn't lie to me." Zhao Xian asked 2 questions in succession. "Is it true?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Of course it is true. We have been busy until now and have just had dinner." "That's great, boss. From now on." Zhang Chen interrupted Zhao Xian and said to her, "I am also considering that our art museum may need to expand, and whether we need to set up a special exhibition hall to permanently display these paintings. These are among the most popular paintings in Chinese art. Paintings by artists that cannot be seen in museums." Zhao Xian sighed and said, "Boss, then our hotel is really good." "That's awesome," Xiaoshu shouted from the side, and the people on both ends of the phone laughed happily. Zhao Xian said, "I was about to cry when I unpacked and put this batch of works into storage. Now, how many good things have been added to our art museum. I didn't expect there would be an accident. Boss, I want it all at night, cannot fall asleep." "You shouldn't be able to sleep," Zhang Chen said with a smile. "We won't be able to sleep at night either." In recent years, after everyone has begun to realize the value of oil painting collections, it can be said that it has become increasingly difficult to collect collections in their oil painting museums. Most of the works have gone to various auctions, and the cost of acquiring the collections it is also getting higher and higher. It has not happened for many years to add so many collections at once. It is no wonder that Zhao Xian is excited. Now, with so many world-class collections added all at once, it's strange to be able to sleep well at night. After everyone had dinner together, Lu Qing and the others went to stay in a hotel. Zhang Chen, Xiao Shu, and the others returned to Xiao Fang's house. After taking a bath, Zhang Chen and Xiao Shu placed these paintings against the wall and TV cabinet in the living room. Lined up, two people sat on the sofa and stared at them. Xiao Fang and Yao Fen came over, and Xiao Fang asked, "Are you stupid and not ready to sleep?" Zhang Chen and Xiaoshu both said that they couldn't sleep and would watch for a while. Yao Fen went to her room to sleep, but Xiao Fang still had to work. She sat in the study for a while, unable to sit still, so she simply took the computer, came out of the study, sat down at the dining table and started to work. While working, she looked up from time to time. Looking over here, I saw Zhang Chen and Xiao Shu staring at the paintings and giggling. Xiao Fang couldn't help but also pursed her lips and smiled. Xiao Fang saw Zhang Xiangbei's MSN online, and Xiao Fang asked, "Bai Bei, it's almost 11 o'clock, why haven't you gone to class yet?" Zhang Xiangbei said, "There is no class this morning. I am reading at home." Xiao Fang smiled secretly. She turned on the camera, turned the computer, and pointed the camera on the computer towards Zhang Chen and Xiaoshu. Xiao Fang typed, "Bai Bei, look at your stupid father and uncle, they are really stupid." Zhang Xiangbei stared at the screen for a while and asked, "What happened to them?" "They found a treasure today." "What treasure?" "Among the paintings your father bought, there are actually works by Picasso and Matisse." "Tch, what I thought was a good thing was just a few broken paintings," Zhang Xiangbei said disdainfully. "Isn't it just a few broken paintings?" Xiao Fang turned the computer back, made an angry expression at the camera, and kept typing in her hands. "Okay, my fault, it seems that I shared it by mistake." "Target." Zhang Xiangbei laughed loudly, and when the microphone was not turned on, he could see his mouth opening and closing proudly. "Ignore you and read your book," Xiao Fang said, turning off the camera and the dialog box, but the name Bai Bei kept flashing. Xiao Fang clicked on it. In the dialog box, there was a long list of laughing expressions left by Zhang Xiangbei. Xiao Fang closed the dialog box angrily and muttered, "Rang Kuang, wait until I come to New Haven to deal with you." On the sofa, Zhang Chen said to Xiaoshu, "Xiaoshu, tomorrow you and Yao Fen go to the logistics base. I simply went to buy the materials and came back to clean these paintings. I think this one by Paul Klee needs to be repaired immediately." Xiaoshu said, "Okay, leave it to us there." Zhang Chen then told Xiaoshu his idea. He wanted to expand a hall in the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery. The area of this hall does not need to be very large, about 100 square meters. It would be placed in the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery and the club. In this hall, he did not want to use glass, but used a silver exterior wall to connect the two glass buildings together. This hall is used as a special exhibition hall for this batch of works to be displayed permanently. If the good things are only hidden in the warehouse, it is better than not having them at all. At this point, we really need to learn from foreign exhibition halls. Xiaoshu said, "Yes, I was really shocked when I went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Museum of Modern Art, and the Guggenheim. This time they display so many good things there, and anyone can visit them. In their exhibition halls, you can often see primary and secondary school students sitting together and listening to explanations. This is the real aesthetic education. Wherever we go to the Forbidden City, we can't see anything. The collections in the Forbidden City can only be read in books." Saw it on. Zhang Chen nodded in agreement. "This is how the exhibition hall should be," so that it is worthy of the collection. I have thought about it. With this collection and then permanently displayed, it can attract many overseas audiences to visit our exhibition hall. When they arrive, they won't just look at this one exhibition hall, so it's like introducing our Chinese oil painters to them. Buy one, get one free, Xiaoshu said with a smile. By the way, brother-in-law, I want to go back to work in the art museum. Why, isn't it good to be a teacher at the Academy of Fine Arts? Zhang Chen asked. Brother-in-law, I told you before that I have an idea, do you remember it? Zhang Chen said he remembered. You said you wanted to be a painter in residence. Yes, I just want to do this when I go back to the art museum, Xiaoshu said. I like painting in the art museum. It feels like there are a lot of people working with me. This feels very cool. Then you paint. While I was painting, there were viewers walking around behind me, pointing and pointing, which made me feel very grounded. I just want to be a resident artist and paint in the museum. Also, as I said before, when primary and secondary school students come to visit, I can be their docent. I feel this way myself, like myself when I was studying, I didn't know much about these things. If you hadn't gone home with your sister that year, I wouldn't have been interested in painting and I wouldn't have followed your painting. You don't even know that you have the talent for painting, do you? Zhang Chen asked. Xiaoshu nodded. Zhang Chen said yes, then you will come back. Zhang Chen remembered and said to Xiaoshu, by the way, I told you earlier that we would expand a hall. For the expansion part, we will build 2 floors. The first floor will be the exhibition hall, and the second floor will be your studio. If you are interested, you can also take students there. Xiaoshu said yes, I am also willing to take care of the students by myself. There are not so many rules and regulations like in school. The next day, Xiaoshu and Yao Fen went to the logistics space. Zhang Chen went out to buy materials and started working when he got home. Lu Qing and the others were curious and came over to take a shot of Zhang Chen repairing the oil painting, and then went to Songjiang logistics space. At about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Xiaoshu called Zhang Chen and told him that he found another line drawing by Picasso, which was drawn on paper and was sandwiched among the pile of paintings without frames. This painting is very interesting, and there seems to be a poem written on it. Zhang Chen said, then you bring it back. Lu Yun knows what is written. Lu Qing has already seen it. She said it's not French, but Spanish, Xiaoshu said, and Zhang Chen laughed. He always only remembered Lu Yun. How could he forget that Lu Qing came back from studying in France? Lu Qing took Xiaoshu's phone and said to Zhang Chen, I took a photo and sent it back to the station for my colleagues to see. My colleague told me that it was a poem by the Spanish poet Lorca. I guess this painting is by Picasso. Give it to the woman in the painting to flatter you. Zhang Chen burst out laughing and said, okay, once we find out which woman this is, we can shoot a special episode of the story of paintings. This is exclusive material. You don't need to tell me, I've already sent people to find him, Lu Qing said. Xiaoshu and Zhang Chen said that they would need to work there for 2 days. Xiaoshu sighed as he said, sometimes I can't continue working. What's wrong? Zhang Chen asked. It's very exciting to see these people who are not famous and look at their paintings. Many of them paint really well. My self-confidence is hit even when I look at them, Xiaoshu said. Zhang Chen smiled, it doesn't matter, I will come out, Xiaoshu. Have you ever thought about it? What we are doing now is a very meaningful thing. After this batch of works are cleaned up, I think we can make a thematic exhibitions, give these seniors who have been forgotten or unknown, an opportunity to be re-recognized by everyone. Xiaoshu said Zhang Chen continued, I even thought that I would do a special topic at that time, and we could also invite people from the consulates or embassies of several countries such as Vietnam, Thailand, Mexico, etc., which have a relatively large concentration of painters. Come, let them know that there was such a group of ruthless people in their country. Brother-in-law, do you want to convert their fame from export to domestic sales? Xiaoshu asked. Zhang Chen said yes, I just have such an idea, and it also stimulates domestic painters. Xiaoshu, please take your time to sort it out. It will probably take me 2 or 3 days, Zhang Chen said to Xiaoshu. At Tan Shuhen's place, I asked Yao Fen for leave. Xiaoshu nodded and said, brother-in-law, after we have sorted it out, I think I will let Mr. Ren and the others use Ivco to deliver it to Hangzhou first. I estimate that it will take more than a dozen times to deliver it all. Zhang Chen said yes, he can also let Wu Ziyawai and his company deliver it. Their van can go into downtown Hangzhou. You can arrange it? After hanging up the phone on Xiaoshu, Zhang Chen became happy and discovered another Picasso. Clement's great-grandfather, a son of a rich French family, must be so sloppy. How could he treat Picasso like this? Zhang Chen thought that Clement's grandfather and father must be the same as Clement and had no interest in these things. Otherwise, they would also have discovered that Picasso and Matisse, in their time, were like Lao Bai and Lao Ma. His reputation has grown, it is impossible for them not to notice. There are really some people in this world who have no interest in works of art. When Zhang Chen thought of this, he thought of Zhang Xiangbei and sighed. Thank you to Quadratic VC and Zheng Kishan for the reward of 2 fishes at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you Hu Hu, Wonk 119, De Ji Lao, the name of the dragon is relatively long, the little brother who eats fish, Daos Hung 123, Hydrogen Oxide Disinfection Knowledge Bureau, Fan Pei's Journey to the West, Yunlong Frogfish, East Long 888, No Future, just remember the original intention, Rain Man monthly tickets for Rainman, 55 Hong, Humor Tribe, and Tamagotchi. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1691. Zhang Chen and the others returned to Hangzhou. After more than a week, that is, starting from New Year's Day of 2012, the 182 works appeared in the exhibition hall of the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery. They made a special exhibition called Return, them from 1911 to 1933. 1911 to 1933 were the years when these painters studied in France, from Wu Fading at the earliest to Liao Xingxiu at the end. What year is Su Biang in? Zhao Xian asked. 1919 Zhang Chen said, the year of the May 4th movement. Where's Lin Fengmian? Same. Pan Yuliang was later than them, in 1921, Wu Dao in 1922, and Lu Haisu in 1928 Zhang Chen said. Niu, boss. You remember all this Zhao Xian said. Zhang Chen smiled and said, I only remember these few. If you ask other people, I don't know. However, there are 3 outstanding people who were later than Liao Xingxiu. Wu Guanzhong in 1946 and Zhao Wuji in 1946. 948, Chu Taichun will leave at the latest, 1949. Zhao Xian was puzzled, didn't you just say that you only remember the first few? The 3 of them are not from 1911 to 1933 Zhang Chen said. Zhao Xian said oh, Xiaoshu looked at the side and laughed, Zhao Xian cursed, are you laughing? Xiaoshu said, brother-in-law, what year is Li Jinfa? It was also 1919, but he was not from the Paris School of Fine Arts. Like Lin Fengmian, he was from the Dijon School of Fine Arts. They are real classmates. Zhang Chen said. Zhao Xian opened his eyes wide and stared at Zhang Chen. Xiaoshu laughed. Lu Qing grabbed Zhang Chen and said to him, come on, don't talk about so much in this office. It's a waste of words. Follow me and talk outside. Lu Qing pulled Zhang Chen out of Zhao Xian's office. As he walked, he turned to the camera and said, follow him. The special report Return, them from 1911 to 1933 produced by Lu Qing and others was broadcast on CCTV1 the next night. Other media caught wind of this and also pounced on the return in Hangzhou. Riverside Oil Painting Gallery pounced on these 182 paintings, which caused a sensation in the cultural world. This exhibition will last until February 15 after the Spring Festival. Next, in March, they will display the works in the large container. For this batch of works, Lu Qing and the others are doing return. It was also mentioned in the special report them from 1911 to 1933, and the footage of Xiaoshu and the others unpacking it was broadcast, which aroused many people's expectations. The only ones that were not disclosed were the works by Picasso, Miro, and Matisse, which were specially requested by Zhang Chen. The expansion project of the art museum is in progress. Zhang Chen's plan is that after the expansion project is completed, these works will have their own dedicated exhibition hall, and then they will make their grand debut. The emergence of this batch of works will not only have a great impact on the national art world, but also it will be a shock to the world art community. Now, they all block information from outsiders. While the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery was busy, Zhang Chen and his logistic spaces were completed one by one and put into use before the Spring Festival. At the same time, Zhang Chen also began to plan to start a new round after the Spring Festival. The layout of the logistic space. During his first winter vacation at Yale, Zhang Xiangbei did not come back. Instead, he drove around Mexico with a classmate from Pakistan and a classmate from Taiwan. Xiaofang is very busy. On the one hand, the board of directors of Smithfield Group in the United States has agreed to the acquisition initiated by Shuanghui International. The board of directors of Shuanghui International also approved the acquisition plan. Shuanghui International promised that after the acquisition is completed, it will keep Smithfield's operations, management, brand, and headquarters unchanged, and it will not lay off employees or close factories. And will continue to cooperate with American manufacturers, suppliers, and farms. On the other hand, they are also stepping up preparations for the listing of Shuanghui International in Hong Kong. The funds raised from this listing will be used to return part of the funds lent to the company by the company's shareholders for the acquisition of Smithfield Group. At the same time, Xiaofang also visited the members of the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, led by the U.S. Department of the Treasury. The members expressed to Xiaofang that they tended to agree and support the acquisition plan. This also means that the work of Shuanghui International's acquisition of Smithfield Group has officially started. After Smithfield Group finally obtains approval from shareholders at the general meeting of shareholders, they will delist from the New York Stock Exchange and become a wholly owned subsidiary of Shuanghui International. The entire acquisition plan is cumbersome and requires a long time to go through. Xiaofang predicts that the transaction will be completed in the second half of 2013. I hope that during this period, a trade war between China and the United States will not occur, which will affect the final decision of the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States. In this kind of cross-border acquisition plan, there are many examples of failure at the last moment. The reason for the final failure is 10 times 7 or 8, it will be political reasons, not economic reasons. At the same time, Shuanghui International and Spanish Farmers Food Group have also begun to contact each other. Many times, Xiaofang takes a plane, not across the Bering Strait and the Pacific Ocean, but across the Atlantic Ocean, flying directly from the United States to Spain, or to Spain. After the matter was settled, we flew to Virginia in the United States. Lu Yun and Xiaofang said, "Yao Mei, you are so cruel. This company has just opened, but you dare to take advantage of such a big project." Xiaofang giggled, "After this battle, we will have a firm foothold. It will not be difficult to do other projects. The main thing is that after this project is completed, the entire team has matured." Mature? Be careful if they set up their own business. The most important thing in this society is people who don't know the heights of the world, Lu Yun said. I'm not afraid of them, Xiaofang said, it's those people that bother me." "Who are they?" Lu Yun asked. They are the people I'm talking about. They know about this project and want to take part in it. Many people call me and ask for a time to meet. They are very annoying. Xiao Fang frowned as she said it. Lu Yun said, this project is too risky, Yao Mei, you still have to be careful. Xiao Fang sighed, I feel the pressure here, and I think it's even worse with Mr. Wan. What I'm worried about is that if I can withstand it here, I may not be able to withstand it there. After all, these guys are not successful enough, but bad. I still have the ability to ruin things for you. Lu Yun thought for a while and said, Yao Mei, sometimes you don't want to avoid it, just face it head on. What are these people most afraid of? They are most afraid of flipping the table and exposing everything to the sun. Sometimes, you might as well tell her directly for them, if they really have no choice but to do something, they are not afraid of overturning the table and will not hesitate to overturn it. You can even warn them directly, don't stretch your hands too far, stretch too far. If you ruin my business in China, I will ruin your business in the United States, and everyone will die. They know that you have the funds of the Skull and Bones Society behind you. And strength, will be afraid. Xiao Fang nodded and said, okay, Sister Lu Yun, you are right. These people often bully the weak and fear the strong. And he is the best bluffer I have ever encountered, Lu Yun said. This year's Spring Festival is on January 23rd. As soon as New Year's Day is over, the Spring Festival is just around the corner. Zhang Chen is planning to go to Sanya to celebrate the New Year this year. By the way, he will also go to see the Yongchengwu Opera Troupe performing at the Banmushan Hotel. Staff. There are now more actors and actresses in the troupe, so they are divided into two groups. Xiang Nan and Yin Tao stay in Yongcheng and continue to rehearse the revised Shakespeare and Tang Xianzue to prepare for the performance of the Ministry of Culture. There are also some staff, under the leadership of Teacher Wu, we continued to perform in Sanya, and also trained new talents by the way. Tan Shahen and her Hainan company are now doing a lot of business, and Hainan is also a hot spot. Lao Xie contributed almost 20% of their company's sales and 30% of their profits. Of course she is also very happy. Went to Sanya to celebrate the New Year. The troupe has a holiday from the 29th to the 8th day of the Lunar New Year. This is the time when the Sanya Hotel is crowded with the most people. Xiang Nan, Yin Tao and the others are preparing to follow Zhang Chen, Tan Shahen and the others there on the 28th of the Lunar New Year. The name is to celebrate the New Year, but in fact it is go support the theater troupe in Sanya and replace some people with families. There are a lot of people going to Sanya this year. Of course Lao Lu and his wife will be taken there, and Huo and his family will also go there. Xiao Wu and Su Qiaxin will also bring Teacher Wang, Teacher Su, and Xiao Wu's father, Xiao Shu and Yao Fen Hui will bring Yao Fen's parents there, and of course Xiao Fang will not be absent. Lu Yun also agrees to go with them. Lu Yun and Zhang Chen said, they all say that your World Tropical Botanical Garden is very beautiful. I haven't been there yet. I must go and see it. Also, I want to see your Banmutian Resort Hotel. Zhang Chen said to her, you have actually seen that hotel before. I saw it before, when? Lu Yun asked. Do you still remember that one year we went to Jinling Resort? Zhang Chen said, it was the house next to Jinling Resort. However, now Jinling Resort is gone. It has been acquired by others, and the houses have been knocked down and are ready to be rebuilt. The house next to Jinling Resort, Lu Yun remembered it and asked, is that? Yes, it's the hotel where Jin Lily and his friends used to be, Zhang Chen said calmly, and then added, Lu Yun, you should go. Why? Lu Yun asked. If you don't go, my hotel will be demolished next year, Zhang Chen said. Ah, why? It's old. When I bought it, it was an unfinished building. How many years have passed and I'm planning to demolish it and rebuild it. However, only the east building, which is the original building on this side of the road, will be demolished. The west building built later will not be demolished. This time we go, we will stay in the West Building, Zhang Chen said. There were many people going this time, so Cao Minfang reserved a 2-story room for them, and told Zhang Chen that the small restaurant in the West Building would be reserved for them as a dedicated restaurant. When Lu Yun and Zhang Chen were talking, the two were sitting on the sofa in the living room of Lu Yun's house. They were waiting for the busy man Xiao Fang to come back from get off work and have dinner together. On the table, a large pot of spicy fish nuggets was ready. Is the Bayota fish from Qiandao Lake that Zhang Chen specially brought from Hangzhou today. One fish weighs 6 pounds. Lu Yun looked at Zhang Chen and laughed. Zhang Chen asked, "Why are you laughing?" "I want to ask you something, Zhang Chen." "Don't mind," Lu Yun said, and Zhang Chen said yes. "Zhang Chen, tell the truth. Did you feel happy when you acquired Jin Lily's hotel?" Lu Yun asked. Zhang Chen said, "Okay, I admit, a little bit." "Not a little, right?" Lu Yun chuckled. Zhang Chen's face turned red, a little embarrassed, and he said, "Really, I'm not that proud. The most important thing is that I designed this hotel in the first place. I saw that the thing I designed was so bad, and I felt very uncomfortable. Plus I didn't have much money. Bought it? What an excuse." Lu Yun continued to smile. "Should I believe you, or not?" Zhang Chen also smiled. "It's best to believe it." "Okay, then I believe it," Lu Yun said. "Thank you Zheng Kang Hai, Dong Long Dong, Shiyo 2020318232956519, and Shiyo 1611222135017999 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone.